points out. There's a real competitive spirit between these two. We are on board with Nabil Aslan. Nakeem is the man in front of him. Let's have a look at the view that Nakeem has behind of Nabil. To be fair, Nabil isn't exactly pressing too many alarm buttons for Nakeem, and both are driving.
Oh, he's gone off a bit there. He's gone off a bit there, so there's warning signs for Nabil himself to not really overcook it there.
Kalen Chin again tries to go around the outside of Inigo Anton. Anton is just able to hold on once again. That's twice Kalen Chin got his nose in front, and Inigo's been able to claw it back. This is big pressure. Stefanko, the championship leader, down in P9, but will be looking to try to pick up at least a couple of extra points here.
Yeah, Stefanko maybe. Oh, that's a bit of an accident there. A bit of an accident in front of him. That might have been Tasby holding up Banky, which in turn had a bit of a dominant effect towards Stefanko. And luckily for Stefanko, it was a light hit, so there will be no damage to that front wing.
So, it's a long hold. Stefanko gets off to a slowish start, and Josh Perwin has made a move. Masvilton has also made a move, and there's more contact behind. Again, Mohamed Ibrahim, as two racers go flying off on the outside. Mohamed Ibrahim, he was involved as well, but Martin Stefanko, he's got himself into P2.
They're now trying to get by in the second as Tasby. Oh, it's a hit! It's a big hit there. Tasby sent into the wall by Jack Keefley, and that is definitely going to be a steward's inquiry after this, Des.
So Mohamed Tasby for the second race in a row loses really a big number of points. He's back on the circuit, but he's back on in P8 and will come under pressure from Presley Martono.
And there you go. He's got 3 to use throughout his entire lap. This might just be make or break for Nabil's race. Oh, he said each other.
There's contact. Nabil and he spins into the barriers and loses ground. In Aragon in Spain, round 3 of 7. This is a terrific start as Kalen Chin has a big problem.
Oh, he just went onto the curb there, got launched into the air. That was almost like IndyCar style where they had underground underbody aerodynamics as well. That was a real wake-up call, and unfortunately for Kalen, he's lost a huge amount of positions. 6
positions indeed it was, and contact there as well on the back there of Martin Stefanko. So Chin, who was fastest in pole, stay out of trouble, says Alex Young. Should have listened to him. Axel is P13 at the moment, 10-year-old who's getting tons of support on our Facebook pages.
Oh.
Let's go on board with Axel. Sorry, fella, went on board exactly the wrong time.
And he took out Nabil as well for good measure, so that is actually a rather weird way to have a crash. Oh, look at that. Going to the inside goes Reyes. Reyes shoves off White. Anton is also going through. I think in fact it's Anton who has actually gotten through there into the gravel trap, and Reyes and Chin go through as well. So Reyes then really hard on the inside, but he manages to get through. Kalen, on the other hand, on a good recovery drive up to 4th place.
Akib Aslan is the man who has the lead, but he's got Ben Spanky as very close company. And although he got off to a dream start, he's not been able to pull away too far ahead.
Very tactical indeed, but it looks as though Nakib may want to actually take his elbows out here. Banky on the inside, they're going side by side through the corkscrew, and Nakib somehow manages to hang around the outside to hold on to the lead just for the time being. Kalen has been as well. Actually, Kalen now has a drive-through penalty.
Oh, that hurts. Oh, that hurts.
Oh, that was disastrous for him. He was also in the pit lane at the same time with Banky, and that, look at that, the gap's only a second. He had it there. He could have actually taken the lead of the race if he even didn't have that drive-through penalty. Confirmation there from the stewards in the gate. The drive-through is going to be so painful for Kalen. He's going to tumble through the order after this, Des.
Bottom left of your screen is Kalen Chin. He knows the news. He knows the... How can you make such a mistake? Bence is not impressed with Kalen Chin just there.
Oh, in fact, it's even worse for Kalen. He's done an Austin Powers. He's actually stuck it right there in the pit lane. No, that is so disastrous for the young Aussie Singaporean. You can feel that frustration, and there you go. The picture says 1,000 words at this time, Des.
Oh, ouch. Oh, ouch. That was not much fun for Kalen Chin. And we are underway. A nice first corner.
Oh.
And Inigo Anton
is going to win his first race. We're running championships all throughout Asia Pacific. We need a premier championship with proper production, proper entry fees and prize money. And that's what E1 Championship is.
E1 Championship really levels the playing field.
We've made a great start on e-racing.
It allows people in the real-life teams and the sim racing teams to compete on an even footing, and they can be competitive against each other.
The level of racing was really, really high.
It's a terrific sporting competition.
We want to make the racing even harder and more realistic. In RaceRoom, the drivers and teams have learned how to have contact without breaking the car.
We had so many incidents on the track that we had a couple of races banned from competing for the last 2 rounds.
E1's going to get bigger and better all the time. As we become a global championship, we're going to get more European teams and drivers taking part as well.
Round 2 of the E1 Championship 2022. Nabil is now just beginning to make a move there on his brother. Teammates and brothers, but as Adam Carruthers so often points out, there's a real competitive spirit between these two. We are on board with Nabil Aslan. Nakib is the man in front of him. Let's have a look at the view that Nakib has behind of Nabil. To be fair, Nabil isn't exactly pressing too many alarm buttons for Nakib, and both are driving.
Oh, he's gone off a bit there. He's gone off a bit there, so there's warning signs for Nabil himself to not really overcook it there.
Kalen Chin again tries to go around the outside of Inigo Anton. Anton is just able to hold on once again. That's twice Kalen Chin got his nose in front, and Inigo's been able to claw it back. This is big pressure. Stefanko, the championship leader, down in P9, but will be looking to try to pick up at least a couple of extra points here.
Yeah, Stefanko maybe. Oh, that's a bit of an accident there. A bit of an accident in front of him. That might have been Tasby holding up Banky, which in turn had a bit of a domino effect towards Stefanko. And luckily for Stefanko, it was a light hit, so there will be no damage to that front wing.
So, it's a long hold. Stefanko gets off to a slowish start, and Josh Perwin has made a move. Masvilton has also made a move, and there's more contact behind. Again, Mohamed Ibrahim, as 2 racers go flying off on the outside. Mohamed Ibrahim, he was involved as well, but Martin Stefanko, he's got himself into P2.
They're now trying to get by in a second as Tasby. Oh, it's a hit! It's a big hit there. Tasby sent into the wall by Jack Keefley, and that is definitely going to be a steward's inquiry after this, Des.
So Mohamed Tasby for the 2nd race in a row loses really a big number of points. He's back on the circuit, but he's back on in P8 and will come under pressure from Presley Martono.
And there you go. He's got 3 to use throughout his entire lap. This might just be make or break for Nabil's race. Oh, he's hit each other.
There's contact. Nabil and he spins into the barriers and loses ground. In Aragon in Spain, round 3 of 7. This is a terrific start as Kalen Chin has a big problem.
Oh, he just went onto the curb there, got launched into the air. That was almost like IndyCar style where they had underground underbody aerodynamics as well. That was a real wake-up call, and unfortunately for Kalen, he's lost a huge amount of positions. 6 positions indeed it was, and contact there as well on the back there of Martin Stefanko. So Chin, who was fastest in pole, stay out of trouble, says Alex Young. Should have listened to him. Axel is P13 at the moment, 10-year-old who's getting tons of support on our Facebook pages. Oh.
Let's go on board with Axel. Sorry, fella, went on board exactly the wrong time.
And he took out Nabil as well for good measure, so that is actually a rather weird way to have a crash. Oh, look at that. Going to the inside goes Reyes. Reyes shoves off White. Anton is also going through. I think it's Anton who has actually gotten through there into the gravel trap, and Reyes and Chin go through as well. So Reyes then really hard on the inside, but he manages to get through. Kalen, on the other hand, on a good recovery drive up to 4th place.
Nakib Aslan is the man who has the lead, but he's got Ben Spanky as very close company. And although he got off to a dream start, he's not been able to pull away too far ahead.
Very tactical indeed, but it looks as though Nakib may one time should actually take his elbows out here. Banky on the inside, they're going side by side through the corkscrew, and Nakib somehow manages to hang around the outside to hold on to the lead just for the time being. Kalen has been as well. Actually, Kalen now has a drive-through penalty.
Oh, that hurts. Oh, that hurts.
Oh, that was disastrous for him. He was also in the pit lane at the same time with Banky, and that, look at that. The gap's only a second. He had it there. He could have actually taken the lead in the race if he even didn't have that drive-through penalty. Confirmation there from the stewards in the gate. The drive-through is going to be so painful for Kalen. He's going to tumble through the order after this, Des.
Bottom left of your screen is Kalen Chin. He knows the news. He knows the... How can you make such a mistake? Bence is not impressed with Kalen Chin just there.
Oh, in fact, it's even worse for Kalen. He's done an Austin Powers. He's actually stuck it right there in the pit lane. No, that is so disastrous for the young Aussie Singaporean. You can feel that frustration, and there you go. The picture says 1,000 words at this time, Des.
Oh, ouch. Oh, ouch. That was not much fun for Kalen Chin. And we are underway. A nice first corner.
Oh.
And Inigo Anton.
He's going to win his first race.
We're running championships all throughout Asia Pacific. We need a premier championship with proper production, proper entry fees and prize money. And that's what E1 Championship is.
E1 Championship really levels the playing field.
We've made a great start on e-racing.
It allows people in the real life teams and the sim racing teams to compete on even footing, and they can be competitive against each other.
The level of racing was really, really high.
It's a terrific sporting competition.
We want to make the racing even harder and more realistic. In RaceRoom, the drivers and teams have learned how to have contact without breaking the car.
We had so many incidents on the track that we had a couple of races banned from competing for the last 2 rounds.
E1's going to get bigger and better all the time. As we become a global championship, we're going to get more European teams and drivers taking part as well.
Round 2 of the E1 Championship 2022. Nabil is now just beginning to make a move there on his brother. Teammates and brothers, but as Adam Carruthers so often points out, there's a real competitive spirit between these two. We are on board with Nabil Aslan. Nakib is the man in front of him. Let's have a look at the view that Nakib has behind of Nabil. To be fair, Nabil isn't exactly pressing too many alarm buttons for Nakib, and both are driving.
Oh, he's gone off a bit there. He's gone off a bit there, so there's warning signs for Nabil himself to not really overcook it there.
Kalen Chin again tries to go around the outside of Inigo Anton. Anton is just able to hold on once again. That's twice Kalen Chin got his nose in front, and Inigo's been able to claw it back. This is big pressure. Stefanko, the championship leader, down in P9, but will be looking to try to pick up at least a couple of extra points here.
Yeah, Stefanko maybe. Oh, that's a bit of an accident there. A bit of an accident in front of him. That might have been Tasby holding up Banky, which in turn had a bit of a domino effect towards Stefanko. And luckily for Stefanko, it was a light hit, so there will be no damage to that front wing.
So, it's a long hold. Stefanko gets off to a slowish start, and Josh Perwin has made a move. Masvilton has also made a move, and there's more contact behind. Again, Mohammed Ibrahim, as 2 racers go flying off on the outside. Mohammed Ibrahim, he was involved as well, but Martin Stefanko, he's got himself into P2.
They're now trying to get by in a second as Tasby. Oh, it's a hit! It's a big hit there. Tasby sent into the wall by Jack Keefley, and that is definitely going to be a steward's inquiry after this, Des.
So Mohammed Tasby for the 2nd race in a row loses really a big number of points. He's back on the circuit, but he's back on in P8 and will come under pressure from Presley Martono.
And there you go. He's got 3 to use throughout his entire lap. This might just be make or break for Nabil's race. Oh, he's hit each other.
There's contact. Nabil and he spins into the barriers and loses ground. In Aragon in Spain, round 3 of 7. This is a terrific start as Kalen Chin has a big problem.
Oh, he just went onto the curb there, got launched into the air. That was almost like IndyCar style where they had underground underbody aerodynamics as well. That was a real wake-up call, and unfortunately for Kalen, he's lost a huge amount of positions.
6 positions indeed it was, and contact there as well on the back there of Martin Stefanko. So Chin, who was fastest in pole, stay out of trouble, says Alex Young. Should have listened to him. Axel is P13 at the moment, 10-year-old who's getting tons of support on our Facebook pages.
Oh.
Let's go on board with Axel. Sorry, fella, went on board exactly the wrong time.
And he took out Nabil as well for good measure. So that is actually a rather weird way to have a crash. Oh, look at that. Going to the inside goes Reyes. Reyes shoves off White. Anton is also going through. I think in fact it's Anton who has actually gotten through there into the gravel trap. And Reyes and Chin go through as well. So Reyes then really hard on the inside, but he manages to get through. Kalen, on the other hand, on a good recovery drive up to 4th place.
Akib Aslan is the man who has the lead, but he's got Ben Spanky as very, very close company. And although he got off to a dream start, he's not been able to pull away too far ahead.
Very tactical indeed, but it looks as though Nakib might want to actually take his elbows out here. Banky on the inside, they're going side by side through the corkscrew, and Nakib somehow manages to hang around the outside to hold on to the lead just for the time being. Kalen has been there as well. Actually, Kalen now has a drive-through penalty.
Oh, that hurts. Oh, that hurts.
Oh, that was disastrous for him. He was also in the pit lane at the same time with Banky, and that, look at that, the gap's only a second. He had it there. He could have actually taken the lead of the race if he even didn't have that drive-through penalty. Confirmation there from the stewards in the game. The drive-through is going to be so painful for Kalen. He's going to tumble through the order after this, Des.
Bottom left of your screen is Kalen Chin. He knows the news. He knows the... How can you make such a mistake? Benz is not impressed with Kalen Chin just there.
Oh, in fact, it's even worse for Kalen. He's done an Austin Powers. He's actually stuck it right there in the pit lane. No, that is so disastrous for the young Aussie Singaporean. You can feel that frustration, and there you go. The picture says 1,000 words at this time, Des.
Oh, ouch. Oh, ouch. That was not much fun for Kalen Chin. And we are underway. A nice first corner. And Inigo Anton.
He's going to win his first race.
We're running championships all throughout Asia Pacific. We need a premier championship with proper production, proper entry fees and prize money. And that's what E1 Championship is.
E1 Championship really levels the playing field.
We've made a great start on e-racing.
It allows people in the real life teams and the sim racing teams to compete on even footing, and they can be competitive against each other.
The level of racing was really, really high.
It's a terrific sporting competition.
We want to make the racing even harder and more realistic. In RaceRoom, the drivers and teams have learned how to have contact without breaking the car.
We had so many incidents on the track that we had a couple of races banned from competing for the last 2 rounds.
E1's going to get bigger and better all the time. As we become a global championship, we're going to get more European teams and drivers taking part as well.
Round 2 of the E1 Championship 2022. Nabil is now just beginning to make a move there on his brother. Teammates and brothers, but as Adam Carruthers so often points out, there's a real competitive spirit between these two. We are on board with Nabil Aslan. Nakib is the man in front of him. Let's have a look at the view that Nakib has behind of Nabil. To be fair, Nabil isn't exactly pressing too many alarm buttons for Nakib, and both are driving.
Oh, he's gone off a bit there. He's gone off a bit there, so there's warning signs for Nabil himself to not really overcook it there.
Kalen Chin again tries to go around the outside of Inigo Anton. Anton is just able to hold on once again. That's twice Kalen Chin got his nose in front, and Inigo's been able to claw it back. This is big pressure. Stefanko, the championship leader, down in P9, but will be looking to try to pick up at least a couple of extra points here.
Yeah, Stefanko maybe. Oh, that's a bit of an accident there. A bit of an accident in front of him. That might have been Tasby holding up Banky, which in turn had a bit of a domino effect towards Stefanko. And luckily for Stefanko, it was a light hit, so there will be no damage to that front wing.
So, it's a long hold. Stefanko gets off to a slowish start, and Josh Perwin has made a move. Masvilton has also made a move, and there's more contact behind. Again, Mohammed Ibrahim, as 2 racers go flying off on the outside. Mohammed Ibrahim, he was involved as well, but Martin Stefanko, he's got himself into P2.
They're now trying to get by in the second as Tasby. Oh, it's a hit! It's a big hit there. Tasby sent into the wall by Jack Keefley, and that is definitely going to be a steward's inquiry after this, Des.
So Mohammed Tasby for the 2nd race in a row loses really a big number of points. He's back on the circuit, but he's back on in P8 and will come under pressure from Presley Martono.
And there you go. He's got 3 to use throughout his entire lap. This might just be make or break for Nabil's race. Oh, he's hit each other.
There's contact. Nabil
And he
spins into the barriers and loses ground. We are in Aragon in Spain, round 3 of 7. This is a terrific start as Kalen Chin has a big problem.
Oh, he just went onto the curb there, got launched into the air. That was almost like IndyCar style when they had underground underbody aerodynamics as well. That was a real wake-up call, and unfortunately for Kalen, he's lost a huge amount of positions.
6 positions indeed it was, and contact there as well on the back there of Martin Stefanko. So Chin, who was fastest in pole, stay out of trouble, says Alex Young. Should have listened to him. Axel is P13 at the moment, 10-year-old who's getting tons of support on our Facebook pages.
Oh.
Let's go on board with Axel. Sorry, fella, went on board exactly the wrong time.
And he took out Nabil as well for good measure. So that is actually a rather weird way to have a crash. Oh, look at that. Going to the inside goes Reyes. Reyes shoves off White. Anton is also going through. I think it's Anton who has actually gotten through there into the gravel trap. And Reyes and Chin go through as well. So Reyes then really hard on the inside, but he manages to get through. Kalen, on the other hand, on a good recovery drive up to 4th place.
Akib Aslan is the man who has the lead, but he's got Ben Spanky as very, very close company. And although he got off to a dream start, he's not been able to pull away too far ahead.
Very tactical indeed, but it looks as though Nakib might want to actually take his elbows out here. Banky on the inside, they're going side by side through the corkscrew, and Nakib somehow manages to hang around the outside to hold on to the lead just for the time being. Kalen has been there as well. Actually, Kalen now has a drive-through penalty.
Oh, that hurts. Oh, that hurts.
Oh, that was disastrous for him. He was also in the pit lane at the same time with Banky, and that, look at that, the gap's only a second. He had it there. He could have actually taken the lead of the race if he even didn't have that drive-through penalty. Confirmation there from the stewards in the gate. The drive-through is going to be so painful for Kalen. He's going to tumble through the order after this, Des.
Bottom left of your screen is Kalen Chin. He knows the news. He knows the... How can you make such a mistake? Bence is not impressed with Kalen Chin just there.
Oh, in fact, it's even worse for Kalen. He's done an Austin Powers. He's actually stuck it right there in the pit lane. No, that is so disastrous for the young Aussie Singaporean. You can feel that frustration, and there you go. The picture says 1,000 words at this time, Des.
Oh, ouch. Oh, ouch. That was not much fun for Kalen Chin. And we are underway. A nice first corner.
Oh.
And Inigo Anton.
He's going to win his first race.
We're running championships all throughout Asia Pacific. We need a premier championship with proper production, proper entry fees and prize money. And that's what E1 Championship is.
E1 Championship really levels the playing field.
We've made a great start on e-racing.
It allows people in the real life teams and the sim racing teams to compete on even footing, and they can be competitive against each other.
The level of racing was really, really high.
It's a terrific sporting competition.
We want to make the racing even harder and more realistic. In RaceRoom, the drivers and teams have learned how to have contact without breaking the car.
We had so many incidents on the track that we had a couple of races banned from competing for the last 2 rounds.
E1's going to get bigger and better all the time. As we become a global championship, we're going to get more European teams and drivers taking part as well.
Round 2 of the E1 Championship 2022. Nabil is now just beginning to make a move there on his brother. Teammates and brothers, but as Adam Carruthers so often points out, there's a real competitive spirit between these two. We are on board with Nabil Aslan. Nakib is the man in front of him. Let's have a look at the view that Nakib has behind of Nabil. To be fair, Nabil isn't exactly pressing too many alarm buttons for Nakib, and both are driving.
Oh, he's gone off a bit there. He's gone off a bit there, so there's warning signs for Nabil himself to not really overcook it, Des.
Kalen Chin again tries to go around the outside of Inigo Anton. Anton is just able to hold on once again. That's twice Kalen Chin got his nose in front, and Inigo's been able to claw it back. This is big pressure. Stefanko, the championship leader, down in P9, but will be looking to try to pick up at least a couple of extra points here.
Yeah, Yeah, Stefanko maybe. Oh, that's a bit of an accident there. A bit of an accident in front of him. That might have been Tasby holding up Banky, which in turn had a bit of a domino effect towards Stefanko. And luckily for Stefanko, it was a light hit, so there will be no damage to that front wing.
So, it's a long hold. Stefanko gets off to a slowish start. And Josh Perwin has made a move. Wilton has also made a move. And there's more contact behind. Again, Mohamed Ibrahim, as two racers go flying off on the outside. Mohamed Ibrahim, he was involved as well. But Martin Stefanko, he's got himself into P2.
They're now trying to get by in the second as Tasby. Oh, it's a hit! It's a big hit there. Tasby sent into the wall by Jack Keefley. And that is definitely going to be a Stewart's inquiry after this, Des.
So Mohamed Tasby for the second race in a row loses really a big number of points. He's back on the circuit, but he's back on in P8 and will come under pressure from Presley Martono.
And there you go. He's got 3 to use throughout his entire lap. This might just be make or break for Nabil's race. Oh, he's hit each other.
There's contact. Nabil and he spins into the barriers and loses ground. In Aragon, in Spain, round 3 of 7. This is a terrific start as Kalen Chin has a big problem.
Oh, he just went onto the curb there, got launched into the air. That was almost like IndyCar style when they had underground underbody aerodynamics as well. That was a real wake-up call, and unfortunately for Kalen, he's lost a huge amount of positions.
6 positions indeed it was, and contact there as well on the back there of Martin Stefanko. So Chin, who was fastest in pole, stay out of trouble, says Alex Young. Should have listened to him. Axel is P13 at the moment, 10-year-old who's getting tons of support on our Facebook pages.
Oh.
Let's go on board with Axel. Sorry, fella, went on board exactly the wrong time.
And he took out Nabil as well for good measure. So that is actually a rather weird way to have a crash. Oh, look at that. Going to the inside goes Reyes. Reyes shoves off White. Anton is also going through. I think it's Anton who has actually gotten through there into the gravel trap. And Reyes and Chin go through as well. So Reyes then really hard on the inside, but he manages to get through. Kalen, on the other hand, on a good recovery drive up to 4th place.
Aki Vaslan is the man who has the lead, but he's got Ben Spanky as very close company. And although he got off to a dream start, he's not been able to pull away too far ahead.
Very tactical indeed, but it looks as though Nakib might want to actually take his elbows out here. Banky on the inside, they're going side by side through the corkscrew, and Nakib somehow manages to hang around the outside to hold on to the lead just for the time being. Kalen has been there as well. Actually, Kalen now has a drive-through penalty.
Oh, that hurts. Oh, that hurts.
Oh, that was disastrous for him. He was also in the pit lane at the same time with Banky, and that, look at that, the gap's only a second. He had it there. He could have actually taken the lead of the race if he even didn't have that drive-through penalty. Confirmation there from the stewards in the gate. The drive-through is going to be so painful for Kalen. He's going to tumble through the order after this, Des.
Bottom left of your screen is Kalen Chin. He knows the news. He knows the... How can you make such a mistake? Bence is not impressed with Kalen Chin just there.
Oh, in fact, it's even worse for Kalen. He's done an Austin Powers. He's actually stuck it right there in the pit lane. No, that is so disastrous for the young Aussie Singaporean. You can feel that frustration, and there you go. The picture says 1,000 words at this time, Des.
Oh, ouch. Oh, ouch. That was not much fun for Kalen Chin.
Welcome once again to the E1 Championship 2022. This is round 4. My name's Adam Carruthers and I'm sat next to the race director himself, Alex Young. Everything has been organised by Axel Sports, EGG and Astro, supported by MAM. That's the Motorsports Association of Malaysia, and RaceRoom. We are live on Arena plus Suka, and we're also broadcasting on YouTube and Facebook. All you have to do is look up E1 Championship. Make sure you tell all of your friends and family members about that. We're also broadcasting in Singapore via Esports 2, in Vietnam on VTV Cab, Thailand on True Gaming Up, and in Indonesia via TVRI Sports. So to all the viewers there, thank you very much for joining us. And it's not just the two of us in studio, we have the commentary team of Ammo and Des standing by for the race itself as well. Now, before we kick on though, I need to ask, we're kind of at the halfway stage now, Alex, let's just say that. Is it going to plan? Is it going as expected for you?
Yeah, actually, even better than I expected, to be honest. The racing's been fantastic. You know, having Williams and TX3 and some of the Europeans over here has been great for the series. And yeah, you know, it's been really great racing. Even the last round was really good. You know, we saw some new first-time winners. Mohamed Tasbi from Team Flash winning that race for the first time, you know. So yeah, some really nice storylines developing.
Little recap, where was it last week?
So last week was Aragon. So it's a tricky track to race at. And it's really good to see Tasbi take his first win there. And there's some other surprises as well, weren't there?
I know, there certainly were. Now, I'm sure he's not going to thank us for this, but Kalen Chin had a day to forget, even though it did start off promisingly well for him. Here's what happened.
This is a terrific start as Kalen Chin has a big problem.
Oh, he just went onto the curb there, got launched into the air, and unfortunately for Kalen, he's lost a huge amount of positions.
6 positions indeed it was, and contact there as well on the back there of Martin Stefenko. So Chin, who was fastest in pole, stay out of trouble, says Alex Young. Should have listened to him.
Kalen has pitted as well. Actually, Kalen now has a drive-through penalty.
Oh, that hurts. Oh, that hurts.
Oh, that was disastrous for him. He was also in the pit lane at the same time with Banky, and that, look at that, the gap's only a second. He had it there. He could have actually taken the lead of the race if he even didn't have that drive-through penalty. Confirmation there from the stewards in the game. The drive-through is going to be so painful for Kalen. Oh, in fact, it's even worse for Kalen. He's done an Austin Powers. He's actually stuck it right there in the pit lane. No, that is so disastrous for the young Aussie Singaporean. You can feel that frustration, and there you go. The picture says 1,000 words at this time, Des.
Oh, ouch. Oh, ouch. That was not much fun for Kalen Chin.
Heartbreaking, absolutely heartbreaking. Kalen Chin, he might be young, but he is a veteran of E1 Championships. I'm sure you have his number. Did you speak to him? Did you message him after what happened last week?
Actually did. About a couple of hours after the race. You know, just had to remind him that, yeah, the results didn't quite go his way, but, you know, first pole position for him. And if he hadn't made that mistake in speeding the pit lane, I think he would have won race 2 as well. You know, you've got to remember that he's so young. He's still only 15 years old, but he's already accomplished so much. You know, we've seen him in other championships. He won an Asia Pacific Championship in single seaters recently. He's really one of the top drivers in these sort of Formula 1S cars and iRacing, and in E1. He's also won races here too. So just needs to pick himself up and hopefully recover. And the best way to do it is tonight.
That's what I want to ask about really briefly. Recovery, how difficult can it be? Will it be playing the back of his head what happened last week? Can he be overcompensating at times?
It can be, especially when you're young. Like Kalen, you can fixate about some of these things. But, you know, I'm really backing Kalen to be absolutely fine and come through it with flying colours.
Okay, as he has shown in the past as well. Now, to give a full recap of what happened last week and to pass it straight over to Des and Ammo.
Yeah, it actually wasn't that bad a weekend for Kalen. He did pick up 21 points, but great for the highlights reel as well, as far as we're concerned. But tough luck to the fella. But what a fabulous weekend it was for Mohamed Tasbi, based out of Singapore, the Team Flash racer, picking up 44 points, third fastest in qualification, a P1 and a P3. Ben Spanky from Mumbai Falcons, Mohamed Ibrahim also doing well. Jack Keithley and Williams very strong as well. So the overall week last week was a triumph for Mohamed Tasbi, and Kalen just has to take it on the chin.
Indeed, yeah. Unfortunately for him, that was a weekend gone begging, but he can put it into the bin. And with that, that actually leaves the championship standings at an absolute knife edge here between the two Williams Esports drivers and the Mumbai Falcons drivers. 99 points for Martin Stefanko and Ben Spanky, with their teammates Jack Keithley and Mohamed Ibrahim also tied on 81 points. It's delicately poised, Des, for this season, with Nakib watching brief as well. And let's not discount Tasbi and Rasa Reyes. They can still be in the hunt, as well as Kalen Chin.
Indeed, it's a very good point scoring in the overall championship standing. In the team scoring, look at that, 180 points apiece for Williams and Mumbai Falcons. So the Europeans have come in and leading the way, but Mumbai Falcons under Ibrahim and Ben Spanky, they are really giving a good effort. Sem 9, don't count them out either. Nakib and Nabil are due a big round, and Team Flash with Tazbeh's form last week, they are really worth looking at as well. There's good point scoring right the way down. Even the Team EGG and Apex E-Racing teams have picked up points.
Thanks, Des and Ammo. What does that tell us? Neck and neck, first and second, third and fourth, and also for the teams.
Yeah, I mean, and yes, of course, let's not forget Williams Esports and, of course, Mumbai Falcons. They're real-life race teams as well. So it's interesting to see them up there, neck and neck. How close can that be? You know, and also let's not forget, you got Sem 9 and Team Flash. They're not too far behind as well.
Well, what does that tell you about real life in sim racing?
Well, it's something we've noticed, that the real life teams do really well in the sim world. Not necessarily real life drivers. It actually goes better the other way. Sim drivers seem to do better in the real world than real world drivers do better in the sim world. Max Verstappen being probably the only exception. But in the real life teams, they really do well in the sim world. You know, I think maybe because in real life they're used to so much, to trying to do so much without having so much data available to them. When it comes to the sim world, all the data is at hand. They really know how to get the most out of it. And of course, yeah, so we do see that. It's not just an E1. Other big championships like Le Mans Virtual Series, you see a lot of the real life teams doing very well in the sim world.
And yourself, real life or sim? Where does Alex Young fare better?
Well, for coaching, I definitely prefer the sim world. I'm spending a lot more of my time in the sim world, to be honest, but still obviously doing real world stuff. Formula 3, GT Challenge and all these sort of things. But for the coaching, sim world is much better, and we can prepare our drivers much better in the sim world. So if they do want to make the transition to the real world, it's not a problem.
It's almost like you avoided my question in a very discreet way there. Very well played there, Alex Young. Now, it's not just about the two teams and the four drivers we're mentioning. There's plenty more. So let's pass it back over to Des and Ammo for the drivers' profiles.
Let's get underway with the defending team champions, Team Flash. Inigo Anton not had the greatest season so far. The teenager from Philippines, expect him to come good. Mohamed Tazbeh came good last week. Can he maintain that form?
And speaking of form, these are guys who are looking for form. Black Cards Racing, a real world team as well, winners in Formula Regional Asia. We have Josh Perwin and Kalen Chin in their stable, with both of them looking to actually get Aragon out of their systems.
Team Safe House from Korea, it's a combination of Arwin Tarunya, the 29-year-old Indonesian, and Jin Masvilton. Jin, he's picked up himself 35 points so far this season, looking for a top 10 place.
And guys who are riding a high wave after last weekend, Nakib Aslan and Abe Aslan, winners of TGR Festival Vios Challenge in the rookie class and the sporting class, they'll be looking to replicate that result in the sim world, Des.
Coming up next, out of Brunei, Apex E-Racing, represented today by Jake 10, car number 88, the 30-year-old from Brunei. He's partnered by number 22, Ben Sieg, out of New Zealand.
And this is their sister team, Apex Racing Academy, number 10 and number 55, respectively, for Mohamed Zikri and Julian Kunze. Zikri wants to get a season off and running on the ground, while Kunze is looking to consolidate a championship charge.
I think we all expected a bit more from virtual drivers TX3. Mihai Neg has performed pretty well. Chris Hogfeld, though, we've rarely seen him.
Next up then is another of the real world teams. This is the second of the three, Mumbai Falcons, champions in the Formula Regional Asia. But in the sim world, they're looking to actually consolidate that by having Mohamed Ibrahim, defending champion, alongside Ben Spanky, co-leader of the championship.
One of the teams who have been most improved so far this season, Russell Reyes from JMX Phantom, the 21-year-old, has been exciting. He's got a new partner for today, Dafa Ardianta, a 15-year-old out of Indonesia.
And William Esports looking to bounce back after an indifferent round in Aragon. Jack Keefley and Martin Stefanko both looking to actually put whatever happened between them in race 2 behind them and try to aim for a good result here in Donington Park.
And Team EGG this week represented by 10-year-old Axel Knockom. We saw him crash out last week, hopefully better form this week. Emily Jones, number 16 from Australia, will also be joining Axel today.
Thanks once again, guys. Before we kick on and look at everything else, Dafa's coming this week. I remember round 2, I think that's when Emily came in as well. What are you thinking? Are you keeping an eye out on any new drivers? Perhaps throwing a spanner in the works, you never know.
Well, not really. It's not really the championship to do that. I mean, it is in a way. I mean, you got obviously Axel's who's 10, Kalen, who's 15, and a couple of the other youngsters. Inigo's only 17 and stuff. But all of them was kind of old heads.
Established.
It's established in many ways. So, you know, we're just enjoying the racing, really, just trying to see who can bring something special. And you've seen, you know, sometimes they can go a little bit off form, and it takes a few races for them to get back into form and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's just like any sport, really. It kind of comes and goes, and then you just, you know, to win here, you have to be the best driver on the day.
Okay, if you are brand new to A1 and you're wondering about the race format and the prize pool, don't worry, we've got you covered. Starting off the all-important question of the race format, let's go through it, Alex, because it's 3 stages effectively for today.
Absolutely. You've got qualifying, race 1 and race 2. And in qualifying, it's a 10-minute qualifying. Then it goes, which sets the grid for race 1, which is 15 minutes, and race 2, which is 30 minutes. Now, you get points in qualifying down to the 5th position, top 5. And in race 1 and race 2, the points are the same. Even though race 2 is 30 minutes longer, it's also a reverse grid race. And that's why the points are the same. And of course, fastest lap, which is 2 points for each race.
There's also a, maybe it's the wrong phrase to reuse, a saving grace of sorts in terms of the points accumulation and dropping around.
Absolutely. We have got drop scores in this championship between rounds 1 to round 2 and round 6. You have to drop points from the lowest scoring round. And this is kind of trying to protect us because we're an online race. Sometimes people get disconnected, and it's not really fair to penalize them for when that kind of happens. So we do have that in the regulations where you have to drop points from the lowest round heading into round 7. So if you do have that one bad round, you can still fight for the championship.
Last week was Aragon. Where are we this week, Des and Amo?
We are at Donington Park in Leicestershire, which is in the Midlands in England. It's a shortish circuit, just 4 kilometres in total with 12 corners. It's the Grand Prix layout. There's a lot of elevation changes and some famous old corners and the famous Starkeys Bridge as well to look forward to at Donington Park. Good quick track.
And the car that we have to race on this circuit is the one that hopefully will not be crashing at the remnants of Starkeys Bridge. The Formula RaceRoom X22, 1.6 litre V6 turbo hybrid engine, 1050 horsepower, and with fixed setup, might be quite a struggle for a lot of drivers since they cannot change any of the low-end torque.
As for the prize, very substantial amount, total accumulated 20,000 USD. How's this broken up?
Wow, look at that. And obviously the winner gets 5,000, 3,000 for second, and 2,000 for third. And it goes all the way down to 10th place. This is just for the drivers, of course. There is also a teams championship. And so that's only the top 5, but still, obviously, very, very important to try and get that money in. So all the teams racing for these objectives.
Yeah. We saw the track, we saw the car. Just checking. Fixed setup?
Yep, fixed setup this round. And it's at Donington Park. You know, it's a really short track, hard to overtake in these cars at least. It's going to mean that the grid's going to be very close. It's going to be very, very, very close indeed. And I don't know how to call it at this point.
Yeah, I'm just going to bring in Ammo because we had round 2, which is also more of a bike track. Are we going to expect something similar today from round 2?
Yeah, I think so, Adam, because generally motorbike tracks don't offer good racing for car tracks, but I could be proven wrong. I would love to be proven wrong here. We have a really barnstorming couple of races, but if evidence was to serve from the last time high-powered single-seaters came here was back in 1993 in the European Grand Prix. You just had to mention Ayrton Senna in the rain to know how that went. The racing generally, we're not really sure how it would have been in the dry, but I certainly hope that it would not just be a single-file procession for the 2 races, Adam.
Okay.
Sato strikes again.
A little game for anyone who's watching at home. How many times will Ammo say 93 today? I mark it as 1 so far. End of the evening could be a completely different number. We expect it to be. We've focused a lot on some of the teams. We've talked about Williams, of course. What about Mumbai Falcons? Well, here's a little highlight package of what went down with their team last week.
Then Mohammed Ibrahim has got Jack Keithley that close for company.
Hopefully it can be a clean race and I can bring the car home as safely as possible.
We were talking about him having penalty points, but he picked all those penalty points up in round 1. He was clean as a whistle last time. Maybe he's turning good. This fella, he is controversial. He flies though, ever so quick. Vince Bianchi, who has been consistent throughout this season. The Vince Bianchi has established a near 3-second advantage. Vince Bianchi, he's really gone under the radar as well, and he could well be championship leader at the end of today. Bianchi goes around the outside, more contact between him and Nakeem. This is going to be our race winner for the Mumbai Falcons. This is going to be his debut victory for E1 Championship.
Interesting there, what Des was saying in commentary, coming out of nowhere effectively. Do you think that's fair? It just felt like Williams were the team to watch the first 2 rounds, perhaps.
Yeah.
But suddenly Mumbai Falcons, they're still very much in the equation.
Yeah, Williams is more dramatic for sure. But yeah, Benz, he almost won the very first race of the season. And then he just kind of went really consistent, on the podium. And then bounced back with winning race 2 at the last round. So yeah, I can understand what you're saying about under the radar, because he wasn't as dramatic other than that very, very first opening race of the season. But no, he's definitely there. He's tied on points with Stefanko, and he's going to push on from that. Already seeing in the practice right now how quick the Mumbai Falcons cars are. They're going to be hard to beat today.
We've got to ask about Mohammad Ibrahim Ammo, because he is, let's not forget, the current reigning champ. He's right there in the points as well. What about his performance so far this championship?
Yeah, he's been quite well actually, Adam. We cannot discount him out of the reckoning by any means, but his results, yeah, he hasn't had a win just yet. He just had a pole position, but let's be honest, he might just turn up here and just upset the entire apple cart by probably plonking it on pole and probably win a couple of races. Who knows? But he is definitely a guy that got a big between his teeth, especially right now as the practice is going on in the background. He is actually faster, so that's an interesting barometer for things to come, Adam.
Yeah, and with qualifying about 3 minutes or so away, Alex, you said earlier on, because of the track, qualifying is more important than ever. Can you just tell me why that is more so on a tighter track like this?
Yeah, because, these cars are good for overtaking. You've got DRS, you've got the battery energy recovery systems and stuff like that. But you still need some straights on them. You need to spend some time in some long straights. And Donington, in my day, it was a track that's very easy to overtake. But nowadays, the straights are quite short compared to a lot of the modern Formula 1 tracks. So that means there's less time spent in the straights. So we will see more aggressive driving today, and mistakes happen as well. Maybe on the start, maybe some dives from very far back. There's definitely going to be contact, especially over the chicane at the end of the back straight. So yeah, I think it's going to be an eventful race.
Who is of the aggressive nature that you think will stand out on a track like this? I'm sure Mohamed Ibrahim would be one name you're thinking of, but who else stands out in your mind?
Well, Stefanko's been a bit quiet lately. I think he wants to try and strike back and try and do well. But it's the 4 of them really, the 2 Williams guys, the 2 Mumbai Falcon guys. Benz at the moment is just gone quickest in practice. That's why I'm looking at my screen. So he's definitely going to be in there. Interesting enough, none of the 7-9 drivers have set a time in practice yet. And let's not forget, in the last fixed setup race in round 2, we had Nakeem Aslan win that. So he's going to be a dark horse as well.
Bit of mind games going on. Fascinating to see. Ammo, are you in agreement with Alex there about the aggressive nature? Could come out tops here?
Yeah, I agree, Adam, because fixed setup is one thing, and the other is the fact that if you had a really bad qualifying, you just want to carve your way through the field and try to overtake as many people as possible, like Senna 93, of course. Lap 1 from yes, that's count number 2 there. He dropped from P3 to P6 and then back up to P1 at the end of lap 1. So really then, this is a circuit that really suits drivers with a lot of appetite and hunger to win a race.
Okay, interesting. I'm fascinated to see how things are going to pan out. We've had a little bit of a teaser from practice from Alex Young. I think we're ready now for qualifying, or just about to be. So passing it back once over to Des and Ammo.
Yeah, let's actually, there's a change of driver just to tell you about. Mazdi Mardini has come in for the Brunei team, the Apex Racing. We're not anticipating him being up at the top. In fact, as we can see, he's struggling to get to grips with what's going on here. So a new racer for him, but our focus will be on the leaders. But we can't stop. We've got to start with Kalen Chin. He had such a memorable time last week. Is he going to settle down a bit today? We know he's a good racer. We've seen him over 4 seasons on E1 Championship. We know he's a good racer. How will he respond to last week?
He'll have to respond quite hard, actually, to bury whatever bad memory he had of that race. But having said that, he's the type of driver that easily bounces back. We've seen it in the season before. He had bad races, but he could come back much stronger. And at this point, at his current juncture, at the halfway point of the season, he might just want to be throwing away some of the bad races and try to consolidate the next 3 rounds.
Yeah, you are allowed to throw away one bad round, but if you've had your bad round early in the season, it's not good because it puts a little bit of pressure on these last 3. Okay, qualifying is about to get underway. Let's go with Mohammed Ibrahim. We spoke about Mumbai Falcons. They're our team in profile for today. It's also a chance for us to maybe have a look at the Donington Park circuit. Why don't you just talk us around what's left of this circuit for Mohammed Ibrahim?
Yep, and we just went through Red Gate. The descent through the cranial curves, that's quite scary on a bike. A car, especially a car like this, is easy flat. Through the old hairpin, that's when we are past whatever's left of Starkey's Bridge. And now we have gone through another few corners. McLean's, Coppers, that's another brilliant vantage point if you're a cameraman to catch the cars rise up from the bottom and through the corner. Next is the S's. That's actually not much of an S nowadays because the drivers can almost literally take it flat if you were to be actually putting up to the chance. Then up to Melbourne hairpin, second gear in this case for Ibrahim, and I'm surprised he didn't use third because second gear may be quite tricky, especially the fact that we saw last time out in Aragon how the low speed corners have caught out a lot of people, and I expect the Melbourne hairpin to be another point of contention there.
Yeah, those 2 hairpins towards the end of the circuit, they really slow things down. I can imagine us getting an awful lot of compression, an awful lot of cars almost in a chain, and a bit of contact there.
Yes, a lot of contact if we're honest, so that's probably something that you'll be looking forward to on that one through the Melbourne hairpin.
How about the joint championship leader? Again, Mumbai Falcons, Ben Spanky. He's had a terrific season. I did say he got under the radar, and he's one of the fastest out there at the moment through Sector 1 in 19.2. It's about now they'll try to put a banker lap in. We've got 8 minutes left, so they want to bank a lap in so that they're somewhere near the top of the grid and then maybe really go for it in the latter stages.
Absolutely. The banker lap is what really settles you into the qualifying session. You do not want to scuff your first lap, and otherwise you'll be on the back foot from here on out. So really then for the guys who have been out earliest, this is their time to actually put in that crucial banker lap.
Well, he's through the Melbourne hairpin. He's got to come up onto the second Goddard's hairpin. At the moment, he's fastest through both Sector 1 and Sector 2, Ben Spanky. I said he's under the radar, but he's very much putting himself in the spotlight. At the moment, he is fastest, right. Last week's top man, Mohammed Tasbi. He is also going pretty quickly on his banker lap as well. He's P6 at the moment. In fact, he's got himself up into P4.
Indeed, that was a good lap for Tasby, and that's a good banker lap as well. He's not that far off from Banky, or having said that, now he's well and truly far off because Kalen Chin has come out with guns blazing.
Yeah, Kalen Chin is the new race leader. We're on board with Martin Stefanko, the joint championship leader for Williams Esports. He has been the more spectacular of the Europeans coming in. He's been consistently up at the top, is the championship leader on 99 points. How's he looking at the moment? He's looking pretty controlled, chattering away bottom right.
And he can still have a talk. I think either it's with Jack Keithley himself or he's actually talking to one of his race engineers. But either way, it's a good, serene outlet for him because he doesn't want to use up any of the battery. The last time we had a fixed race at Assen, if you were to actually deplete your battery on the outlap, you have none for your run. So it will be detrimental to your lap.
As they go through the S's, that is Stefanko. As you say, he's on his outlap, although he has set a time of 106.165, only one inside 106 at the moment, and that's Kalen Chin. Kalen Chin is out there as well. How about our debutant out there? We'll just stay with Stefanko just to see what kind of time he can post on this second main lap. P4, and he remains P4.
No, I think that was the outlap, so he
that's the outlap, sorry.
So he's gonna, this is his lap proper. Second lap on the board here, about 3/10 behind Kalen. So Kalen then pulled it out of the back in that first run to be under the 106s. So he's the only one right now in 105s, but Stefanko would like to have a say in that.
I want to break off from Stefanko. We'll maybe come out to him because he's not the fastest. It's 7-9. Nabil and Nakib. They've left it late to go out onto the circuit. Again, this is Nabil. Well, we're on board with Nakib. They've had a reputation, or Nakib certainly has, of maybe screwing up qualifying in the past. He's got to be careful not to do that because he's already behind in the championship standings.
Yeah, and his best qualifying so far this season is at Assen in second, which of course contributed to him having a win. But he would love to actually fix that qualifying form if he was to stand of any chance of challenging the front Europeans.
He's 2/10 off the pace though. It could get him into the top 4 or 5, but at the moment He is P14 without a lap being set at the moment. Let's see what Nakib can do. We are inside the final half, inside the final 5 minutes of qualification. So get that banker lap done. And for Nakib, P8 for him. Kalen Chin back out on the circuit. Kalen is the fastest. Remember, he was fastest in qualifying last week as well. So we picked up 5 points there. Let's see if he's looking a little bit more controlled today.
Yeah, he wants to make it 2 in 2 and in turn take his, third pole position ever actually. So poles are quite sparse in Kalen's repertoire, but if he's making them work in this season, that will actually go a long way in helping him in the races.
Certainly we're moving on to Ben Spanky, Mumbai Falcons. Jack Keithley's also put a decent lap in, those hairpins, as we move on to Jack Keithley. Keithley currently in P3. The lap time's getting down to the 1:05.8 is the fastest. And I think we might expect to knock a 10th or 2 tenths off that as we look at Kalen Chin coming round the Melbourne hairpin. Let's see how Kalen is doing. He is currently in P1.
Yeah, in fact, it was actually going on his out lap, so this is his second to last run, if he has enough time to actually do so, as he's ahead of Banky by only 0.04 of a second, with Keithley a further time behind, and Stefankov about 7,000 behind. So really then, the Williams boys on their home ground wants to actually charge it as Keithley goes back to the pit lane, so he wasn't happy with that lap because he went wide and invalidated it.
Okay, he'll come out again. Time is running short. They will be quick laps, 1:05, so he has got time to get out there. Inigo Anton, we've not really spoken about Inigo. He moved over to Team Flash. We know him again from previous seasons. What's gone wrong with Inigo this year? Oh, it's just the standard so high.
Well, standard so high one thing, but he hasn't had the rubber to green in both qualifying and the races. His best start so far has only been P7 last time out in Aragon. So really, the qualifying hasn't really gone his way, and it's gone further south for him in terms of the races. His best finish only P5 at the moment. So really, then he wants to actually buck it up right now at the halfway point of the season, Des.
He's got 1 lap time in of 1:06.471, which is 0.8 of a second out as he comes through the S's once again. Looks pretty controlled, bottom left of your picture, but time is running short. 2 minutes 30 left in qualification.
Yep, 1 lap to go at least, because you don't have enough time unless, of course, you manage to sneak in within the 1 minute 6 seconds at least. As Banky now still 400s behind Kalen, so Kalen still at the top of the pile, but not by much.
Yeah, Kalen set that time very, very early. It stood the test of the last 6 minutes. Let's see if he can go back-to-back for qualification bests. Banky P2, Keithley 3, Stefanko 4, Mohammed Ibrahim, who we've spoken about several times, in P5 as Banky takes a nice bounce off the virtual Donington circuit.
0.2 of a second separate between first and fifth, and all of them are in the 1:05s. This is actually really, really hotting up as we come into the final 2 minutes of this session.
It is. These are pretty rapid times, so it'll then come onto overtaking positions, and we haven't at this stage. Well, you keep saying it's not an easy track to overtake on, which suggests that there might be some aggression coming from the drivers.
Indeed, and the fixed setup doesn't help it either, because they don't have that personalization on how the car will handle, so they're gonna have to deal with it at default.
Okay, we are still aboard with Banky. As he flicks through. He will be on another fast lap. Kalen Chin is still the man in pole position.
About a 10th off from that first sector, so he could find time in the second and third. He will definitely try to steal that thunder away from Kalen. Let's see what he does in that second sector, through the SS and through the Museum of Donington on the side there. Look at the commitment. That was almost full throttle. They just had to back it up a bit in 5th gear. Comes out to the second sector, a 10th off, so there's still possibility to find time here for Banky.
But he's got to find it pretty quickly, because these are quick circuits. The time he needs to beat is 1:05.813. He needs to find 0.04 of a second, a little bit more as he goes over the line. The new leader, pole setter, is Ben Bianchi, and he's done it very, very late. Kalen Chin joins him at the moment on the first row of the grid. Jack Keithley and Martin Stefanko make it an all-Williams second row of the grid. Mohammed Ibrahim will pick up a point for Mumbai Falcons. And what a superb debut that is for Dava Ardiansa from Indonesia. He has picked himself up a P6 out of the points, but on the third row of the grid ahead of Tasby and Naki Baslan, who never did get better than P8. But great result for Vince Bianchi.
Absolutely, and he came out clutch there. He managed to find that time in the final two corners to just observe Kalen off that front row, but Kalen would love to actually avenge what happened last time out. This is an interesting racing prospect.
Okay, back over to our hosts, Alex and Adam, and let's see what they make of Bence's performance.
Thanks there, guys.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, he left it late. Very, very late there, Ben.
Another exciting qualifying. I mean, we saw it happen with Kalen Chin stealing pole just at the last second. So we did Vince Bianchi this time. So Bianchi really needed to do that. You know, he's tied at the championship right at the top with Stefanko, and this 5 points for pole position puts him now into the championship lead.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at Kalen's reaction from last week because we talked about it.
Yeah.
We wanted to see what he would deliver today. I know he didn't get pole here, but heck of a performance.
Yeah, it was really close indeed. I mean, let's speak to Kalen himself right now. I mean, Kalen, P2, you got to be happy with that.
I am actually happy. I would have been happier if I had gotten pole, but yeah.
Could you have found some more time?
Yeah, but my lap, I messed up the last sector terribly, and the following laps I tried, I couldn't. I always off-tracked it, and so I couldn't go any quicker. It's just annoying. Because the lap time wasn't there.
Well, hopefully you could use that time in the race and take your first win of the season.
Thank you.
All the best. Plenty
luck.
more points to be won later tonight. Hopefully we'll be speaking to you once again. And it's nice to see that he has a smile on his face.
Yeah,
but we'll see how his performance pans out throughout the course of the entire evening. A little bit more on Vanky. Did you expect him to come good so late on?
Wow, no, I didn't. Don't forget, of course, we do run Success Palace. So Bianchi's carrying 12 kilos of Success Palace, which will count against him a little bit. So he would have been super happy with the pole. And I think he would have had to done the perfect lap to get that pole. Jack Keithley in third position as well. Maybe we can chat to him as well. I mean, Jack again, you know, so you were running a little bit of Success Palace, but third on the grid, you got to be quite happy with that. Was there any more time left on the table?
There was. I just did not get the good lap in. I was 2/10 quicker in practice. Then on that lap, I had a bit extra on the Ilk again. So, a bit annoyed with myself, just invalidating my laps, you know, pushing too hard. Various places, so I know I could have done much better. But yeah, P3, that's still good. Bench is only the row ahead of me, and as long as I'm within DRS range and all that of him and Kalen, then it'll be a good race. Yeah, just wish I'd just done a bit more myself, just to improve.
Okay. A bit more on what exactly? I'm quite interested to know. Is it because of the restrictions of such a tight track that withheld you, perhaps?
Nah, not really. It's just, well, you know when you just do laps in practice over and over and over and over and over and over and over, and then you come to qualify, you've only got 3 or 4 attempts, and I mean, everyone struggles getting the lap in. I mean, Ben's done a great lap. And on another day, maybe I would have had that lap. It's just, it's like a footballer. You have your good days, you have your bad days. And this isn't a bad day, but my lap still, I know I should have done much better. Just mistakes, that's it.
Still in a very strong position ahead of race 1. Jack, thank you very much for taking the time to speak to us.
Good luck.
And that is just part 1 of today's show of race day 4. Oh, there's plenty more to come. Race 1, just a few minutes away, so allow us to go for a quick commercial break. When we return, the build-up will start.
And we are underway. A nice first corner. And Inigo Anton
is going to win his first race.
We're running championships all throughout Asia Pacific. We need a premier championship with proper production, proper entry fees and prize money. And that's what E1 Championship is.
E1 Championship really levels the playing field.
We've made a great start on e-racing.
It allows people in the real life teams and the sim racing teams to compete on even footing, and they can be competitive against each other.
The level of racing was really, really high.
It's a terrific sporting competition.
We want to make the racing even harder and more realistic. In RaceRoom, the drivers and teams have learned how to have contact without breaking the car.
We had so many incidents on the track that we had a couple of races banned from competing for the last 2 rounds.
E1's going to get bigger and better all the time. As we become a global championship, we're going to get more European teams and drivers taking part as well.
He's P13 at the moment, 10-year-old who's getting tons of support on our Facebook pages. Let's go on board with Axel. Sorry, fella, went on board exactly the wrong time.
And he took out Nabil as well for good measure, so that is actually a rather weird way to have a crash. Oh, look at that. Going to the inside goes Reyes. Reyes shoves off White. Anton is also going through. I think in fact it's Anton who has actually gotten through there into the gravel trap, and Reyes and Chin go through as well. So Reyes then really hard on the inside, but he manages to get through. Kalen, on the other hand, on a good recovery drive up to 4th place.
Aki Baslan is the man who has the lead, but he's got Ben Spanky as very, very close company. And although he got off to a dream start, he's not been able to pull away too far ahead.
Very tactical indeed, but it looks as though Nakib might want to actually take his elbows out here. Banky on the inside, they're going side by side through the corkscrew, and Nakib somehow manages to hang around the outside to hold on to the lead just for the time being. Kalen has pitted as well. Actually, Kalen now has a drive-through penalty.
Oh, that hurts. Oh, that hurts.
Oh, that was disastrous for him. He was also in the pit lane at the same time with Banky, and that, look at that, the gap's only a second. He had it there. He could have actually taken the lead in the race if he even didn't have that drive-through penalty. Confirmation there from the stewards in the gate. The drive-through is going to be so painful for Kalen. He's going to tumble through the order after this, Des.
Bottom left of your screen is Kalen Chin. He knows the news. He knows the... How can you make such a mistake? Bence is not impressed with Kalen Chin just there.
Oh, in fact, it's even worse for Kalen. He's done an Austin Powers. He's actually stuck it right there in the pit lane. No, that is so disastrous for the young Aussie Singaporean. You can feel that frustration, and there you go. The picture says 1,000 words at this time, Des.
Oh, ouch. Oh, ouch. That was not much fun for Kalen Chin.
Welcome back once again to live coverage of the E1 Championship 2022. My name's Adam Carruthers, alongside the race director himself, Alex Young. It's organised by Axel Sports, EGG and Astro, supported by MAM, that's the Motorsports Association of Malaysia, and RaceRoom. We are live, by the way, on Arena plus Asuka, also broadcasting on YouTube and Facebook. All you have to do is look up E1 Championship. Very easy to share with all of your friends. Also broadcasting in Singapore via Mio Sports 2, in Vietnam on VTV Cab, Thailand on True Gaming Up, and in Indonesia via TVRI Sport. And if you've just tuned in, you might have missed out what happened in qualifying. So I'm going to pass it straight over to Des and Amo for a recap.
And what happened in qualifying was Ben Spanky, the 23-year-old Slovak representing Mumbai Falcons. He picked up pole position, left it very, very late to get into P1. Kalen Chin, recovering from last week, gets another excellent qualification result for P2. Jack Keithley, Stefanko making Roll Williams second row of the grid. Who impressed you though, Amo?
Of course, Kalen, after bouncing back from what happened last week, to be up to second, just seconds away from pole position, but Banky managed to just steal it towards the end. So I'm actually betting for him to really do the business here, Des.
105.719 is the lap time. That's pretty darn quick. But DRS comes in, and as we heard from Jack Keithley, that will allow a lot of racers to stay very, very close. I'm expecting a lot of contact.
And DRS train, let's not forget that. So we have an interesting racing prospect here.
We are only 3 minutes away from race 1, and during commentary of the actual qualifying, Amo brought up a good point: resource management, battery management. How crucial is this from what you've seen, at least from qualifying? Now we're heading into race 1.
Okay, so when we did the fixed setup round in round 2, the battery management was almost not there at all, because with the fixed setup, we ran through the battery very quickly. I think it's changed now. I think there is a lot more battery to play with, so you will see teams and drivers playing around with that, trying to save it a bit, because overtaking here is going to be tough. So you want to have DRS and the battery to try and make the overtake, because the straights are shorter. So if you can have both the double boost of the battery and the DRS, that should make it easier to overtake.
How much are we talking about in terms of improvement when you have the double whammy of the battery and DRS? I mean, in terms of time.
You can see a lot. I mean, in terms of time around this track, I'm not sure. It's going to be about a second a lap, I reckon. But yeah, you've got to use it just the right time. And of course, it's a bit of a cat and mouse thing, because if you're chasing someone, you know you've got the DRS, you're going to try and make him use up his battery, so that when you get a chance to get a run on him, you can get it. Because the guy in the front, he's going to try and save his battery, because he knows he's vulnerable from DRS. And DRS only happens to the car that's overtaking. So if you're about to do the overtake, you're within a second, you cross the start-finish line within a second, you get to use DRS 3 times on that lap. So if you're defending, you're thinking, right, I got to save my battery for the right moment and try and use it to defend the overtake. So the overtaker is going to try and keep that pressure, make you use the battery, so that when he goes with the battery and the DRS, hopefully, you'll be up against an opponent that can't defend himself.
Okay, I know you have a couple race director things to do, so I want to ask Ammo a question. We're only 2 minutes or less than that from the race itself. Just really quickly, front of the grid, I mean, it's going to be an interesting battle right off the start, based on our conversation with Jack Keithley earlier, Ammo.
Yeah, indeed. In fact, we heard Jack say along the lines of, you have good days, you have bad days. You do not want to have a bad day here, especially given the fact that, especially for the likes of Jack and Martin, who want to recover from a rather iffy round in Aragon, they want to actually keep their noses clean, avoid having unnecessary accidents. So really then, it's just a tantalizing racing prospect, because we do not know how high-powered single-seaters will fare around a circuit like Donington, where the undulations and the corners can catch anybody out there, Adam.
Give me a prediction then. You said you don't know, but I'm sure you have an idea, don't you?
Keeping cards close to my chest right now in terms of that, like the drivers, so I don't want to call it, because it might just become wrong.
He's afraid to say it. Okay, I think we're almost ready for the race, so I'm going to pass the reins straight over to Des and Ammo.
Yeah, we're all just about getting ready. One thing that was interesting about Ben Bianchi, and it's one of the trials and tribulations of sim racing, but his ping was very high. We saw a little bit of staccato. It might have an impact on the race itself. We hope it doesn't, but it is one of the trials and tribulations of sim racing.
Yeah, it kind of moves just like that, isn't it? He was a bit wonky, but I think it could suss itself out, because I've had situations in sim races myself where if the connection was poor, it would just ease out towards the end. Maybe the initial part wasn't really that good. So for Banky's sake, he doesn't want to actually drop out his round, Des.
Absolutely he doesn't. Right, race number 1 of 2, round 4 of the season. We are at Donington Park. We're in the Midlands in the United Kingdom. My home country. Ammo, I'm sure you'd love to see some racing there. 120,000 can view it. It's on a grand old estate in Donington, beautiful part of the country. Our virtual weather is absolutely perfect, and we don't have rain on RaceRoom. I wish we could, but the race is all set. This will be quick. Let's get on board with Ben Spanky, Mumbai Falcons. He's on pole position alongside Kalen Chin. Red lights, when they go off, we'll be underway. 15-minute sprint race, and Banky's got off to a solid start. He's taking Kalen with him and Jack Keithley. Everybody has got off to a good start as they come into that first corner. It's Ben Spanky who leads the way. Behind him, Kalen and Keithley, and Ibrahim has made some time up. Nabil Aslan has got himself up into P5.
He did. He was starting in P6 anyway, so he managed to make the jump on, looks like Ibrahim right in front of him, but Ibrahim actually has gone up with him. So one driver in that top 5 has dropped behind, but regardless, Kalen was one of the biggest losers out of all of that, because he actually lost a bit of ground to Banky. He had a shocking start.
But he has held on to P2 at the moment. Mohamed Ibrahim, the man, in P4. Championship leader, joint championship leader, Martin Stefanko is in P7. Let's just ride on board with Ibrahim. He didn't show us many highlights in qualification. He was actually being a good boy today, Mohamed Ibrahim. What's going on?
Well, he's stowed away his usual firebrand attitude as, oh, there's a guy that gone white there. That was Keithley. Keithley locked up at the Melbourne hairpin, and Ibrahim's gone through. So here comes Keithley on the inside. He has actually touched Ibrahim, and that is the most controversial moment of this season. Look, his front wing is gone, Des.
Wow, Mohamed Ibrahim, we are on board with him. He got himself up into P3, but was then pushed wide, and you can see him bottom right. He's pretty distraught at what's gone on there. That's effectively race 1 for him. Out of the window, Jack Keithley is the man now in P3.
Oh, that's going to be 2 races in a row that he's going to get penalties here, because he did hit the back of Stefanko in lap 1 in that second race at Aragon. Now he's actually done almost same thing towards Ibrahim in race 1 here, so he's not going to be resting easy at the moment, Des.
So Jack Keithley at the moment, we heard him beforehand saying it could be a little bit competitive as Mohamed Tasbi is forced wide by Inigo Anton and Naqib Aslan. Naqib has done well, he's got himself up into P4. He's come out of nowhere. Nabil Aslan, meantime, has dropped down to P9.
Yeah, Nabil, despite the good start, has actually got caught up in the wars there, but having said that, he's dive one onto the inside of Jinmas Vilton, takes one position away from him, but he would be a bit disappointed that he lost a few positions at the start there.
So there is Naqib Aslan. The man right behind him is Inigo Anton, he's made his way up the grid. We are now on to lap 3. Inigo in P5, chasing 4. At the front, it's Bent Banky who's leading from Caelan Chin, and those two are nearly 3 seconds clear of P3 Jack Keithley.
And Caelan has safely negotiated lap 1 this time after being launched into the air, going over the cannonball curves at Aragon, and where his race just went more south than Antarctica afterwards. But really then, he would love to get one here right now, Des, to just settle the score and keep his championship hopes alive.
Well, let's have a look at how Caelan is driving and make sure he doesn't hit any barriers. He's got DRS here, and he's within DRS range. How does DRS work on this particular circuit? Because you're going up the hill, there's no real long straights to work with, are there?
Not really. The back straight that leads up to the Donington Park Museum is the only part that they use it, plus the start of the lap. And I would hazard to guess some of the guys have actually used it through the Craner curve, so that is absolutely full of cojones to do that here. And look, Caelan has made the deficit up. He's right at the back of Ben's Banky.
So this is coming into lap number 4, but Banky is able to just accelerate away. Fastest lap time at the moment, a 1:08.727. That will come down. Caelan's just done a 1:08.4, so he is closing just a little bit on Bent Banky, who I'm delighted to say is looking like his ping is good, but Caelan Chin is just ready to strike should anything go wrong.
Yeah, indeed, and he will like to actually be a bit more careful, especially overtaking guys that have a higher ping. Remember, we saw last time out in two weeks ago at Aslan, where Tasbi got shafted out of the way by Keithley, and they were not that far apart actually. It was just the ping was enough to actually send him into the barrier, so Caelan would like to keep that in mind. And look at that, he's giving a giddy up there. He's trying to get up to the back of Banky, but Banky using his battery to just stay ahead.
Okay, we've got well, into the 5th minute. Josh Perwin has gone up into P7. We haven't seen the best of Josh Perwin this season, and I was just talking to Alex before him how he's settling in, because he's based over in Malaysia now these days. He's looking pretty fit and healthy there, and he's made some real progress getting himself up into the top 10.
Absolutely, he's looking way better than he was last week. Big Joshua, who has overtaken Nabil for position, but he's about 1.7, in fact 2 seconds behind Tasbi, so he's got Nabil for company here. He hasn't shaken him off just yet.
Yeah, there's Nabil Aslan in P8 at the moment, trying to get close. This will give you an indication of just how difficult it is to overtake, because this is kind of it's a wavy straight. You think you've got a chance to accelerate, and it never quite materializes.
Absolutely, it's just like a spaghetti on the side of a hill. It's just really crazy slippery sometimes. But having said that, you can see how Nabil has actually used the DRS through the Craner curve. So my guess was right. He was using it. No wonder some of the guys ran out of DRS on the final straight. Look, there's one remaining left, and he still hasn't had enough battery power to actually chase up to the back of Josh.
Okay, we'll return to that particular race in a moment. I just want to have a look and see how Mohamed Ibrahim is coping. He was taken out in the first lap, and now he's just maybe he's just familiarizing himself with Donington Park, because you guys, you won't have raced it that often this particular circuit.
Yeah, exactly, and the fact that it's just a recently released circuit this year actually there, so this circuit is brand new for a lot of drivers and teams, and for Ibrahim it's just an extended test session right now to just get the fastest lap, Des.
Okay, back up to the front. This is Ben's Banky for Mumbai Falcons, the teammate of Mohamed Ibrahim. They are the sandwich with 16 races in between them. Banky is still holding on to this lead. He hasn't broken the 1:08.5 mark yet. Only Caelan Chin has got that. Fastest lap, Jack Keithley at 1:08.1. So Keithley trying to make a charge from P3.
Yeah, but you have to remember he has that hanging specter of penalties potentially coming his way, because he did make that mistake coming to the Melbourne hairpin, trying to defend from Ibrahim. Tries to retaliate immediately, but got it horribly wrong and just sent Ibrahim back into the pack. So really then, it's not been a comfortable couple of races for the Ipswichian.
So that's the P1 and P2. We've not really mentioned Keith, or we've mentioned him, we've not really looked at him. He looks like he's got a bit of a gap between him and Naki Baslan in P4, and Inigo Anton a further second down. But there's a challenge to Inigo Anton. This is the battle for P5. Anton in the car ahead of Tasby from Team Flash. These are the Team Flash teammates.
And they can try to actually negotiate this safely. They do not want to have friendly fire at this point in the race, because that will lose them so many points in their quest to trying to defend the team's championship. So Inigo and Tasby probably are in contact with each other, and their engineers will be saying the same thing. Don't do anything silly.
Okay, back up to the front. Banky under pressure, under increasing pressure from Kalen Chin. We are at the halfway point of the race. These were 1 and 2 at qualification. These are 1 and 2 in the race. They look almost certain to be 1 and 2 at the end of the race, although, yeah, I've been proven wrong many times before on that. Can Kalen close that gap and make a move?
Yeah, catching is one thing, Des, but overtaking is another. As he comes up to the Melbourne hairpin, he's actually the closest that he's ever been to the back of the Slovakian, and it's still not enough yet. I think Banky just has enough battery power to keep ahead of Kalen, despite the DRS assistance.
I love the graphics. An aeroplane is taking off over the venue. They are incredibly realistic, but this is real life racing. You can see Kalen Chin, bottom left of your screen. In fact, Kalen is trying to make a move at this stage. He is getting as close as he possibly can.
And he wouldn't want to use the DRS at the moment, because look, the DRS indicator is not on for him right now. He doesn't want to get too close to the somewhat minuscule dirty air that these cars produce to have a big accident. So he's actually used it quite well here. In fact, he's using it coming up to McLean's into Coppice. Nowhere close just yet, but we had to check out who's in front of Banky. It's actually Ibrahim. So this might actually, no, in fact, that's one of the Apex cars, but further in front there was actually Ibrahim.
Okay, Kalen has a look on the outside. It is a very tight circuit, so they come through the S's and then they'll hit the hairpins.
No way through just yet. The curb has actually held back Kalen from attacking. So right now, while these two are in really fast pursuit, where we're seeing the pursuer here, Jack Keithley, the East Anglian, coming up to the back of the Australian.
You're quite right. That is an interesting one. Somebody's pulled out. I think it's one of the Apex.
Mazdi.
Yeah, Mazdi, who's on his debut, finding the company a little bit too hot to handle at the moment. Jack Keithley. When you're a racer, when you know that there's a possible penalty on you, does it play on the mind, or do you just try and get as quick, as high up the grid as you can?
I think I can agree with you on that first statement. It does get to your mind, because it's like again I say, it's like a hanging spectre above you. It's just that something that could come back to haunt you once the race is done. Sure, you might celebrate like being on the point of winning the race, but it will be short-lived, knowing the fact that that thing might just hurt whatever joy that you had at that point.
Well, he suffered last week, did Keithley, but 1, 2, 3 is Banky, Kalen Chin and Jack Keithley. Anton and Tasby are still in a battle for P4 and 5 as DRS is implemented. We'll come back to that in just a minute. Let's have a look at the Team Flash battle for supremacy. And Inigo this is his best drive of the season.
For sure, yeah. In fact, this will be his best result this season as well, of P4. His best was last time out in Aragon in P6, as we hear a bit of a siren because cars are coming to the pits right now. So that will be a little bit of a tricky thing to negotiate, as look at that, that's one of the other Apex cars. Close as you can get there, to a total disaster.
How about our championship leader, joint championship leader, Martin Stefanko? He's down in P10 at the moment in the second of the Williams. He's been surrounded by Jin Masvilton and debutant Dafa Arjansa. Not really having a lot of luck today at the moment, Stefanko.
Yeah, he's battling in the lower ends of the points here with Masvilton. And look at that, punching through the center. That's Dafa Arjansa. He would like to rate his chances here. They're going side by side through McLean's. That is normally what you see in MotoGP or Superbike racing. But Stefanko manages to just outfox Masvilton for P9.
And Dafa Arjansa tried to go through as well. That's brilliant. Up to the top. It's close now. Kalen's going to have to make a move at some stage. After this lap, there will be 3 complete laps, or maybe more.
Yeah, it depends, because remember the minutes, the lap here is
about 107, yeah. 108.
Just over cups of about a minute. So really then, we're looking at least at best 4 laps.
At
maybe.
best, yes. Ben Spanky, though, he has held the lead from the start. He was fastest in qualification. He got away well. He got himself a healthy lead. Caelan Chin's been on his tail the whole time, but Jack Keithley now makes it a three-way battle for P1.
And three-way battle between three different teams, so they are truly the class of the field. Mumbai Falcons, Black Arts Racing, and William Esports. These are real-world teams showing the way here up in front, but Keithley will be watching brief. He doesn't want to get any more collisions here that will ruin a good finish here at the expense of his teammate, for example, Stefanko, who's only in P9, and the rest of his championship rivals. Just so tantalizingly close. He doesn't want to do anything crazy at this point.
What could come into play, though, is the lead between these three and Inigo Anton in P4 is over 6 seconds. So if there is a penalty, if it's 5 seconds, he could still hold on to that podium.
But it depends on the severity, though, because Ibrahim really got shafted badly there, and he lost his front wing for good measure, so really his entire race was ruined. So from here on out, after coming to race 2, Ibrahim is definitely having a fire in his belly. He would love to do a charge like Senna in 93.
2:19, that's the third mention. Well done, that man. Back into P4. Let's just look at this. This is the team flash battle. Inigo Anton under pressure from Tasby, but not enormous pressure. Naqib Aslam is a second down on them. He's in P6. Further down, Josh Perwin again has made a little bit of progress up into P7 ahead of Nabil. Stefanko we saw move into P9 ahead of Dafa Ardiansa. Back up to the front, Caelan is once again getting as close as he possibly can. He's going to have to make a move, or will he settle for P2?
But you can safely say that, Des, look at that. He had a bit of a dink coming into the S's in front of the Donington Park Museum. So he is trying it. He is doing a bit of a dress rehearsal here to try and get by Banky. He is tantalizingly close. He knows he's there. Banky looks like as though he actually slowed a bit coming out of Melbourne Hairpin. And now this is Caelan's chance here to attack Des.
Okay, so Ben Spanky has the lead. We are on board with Caelan Chin. Ooh, there could be 2 laps, you know, as they go over the start-finish line. There will be 2 more laps. It's only 4 seconds or so, but that could be critical for Caelan Chin.
Absolutely, and he's got at least 2 more chances in terms of laps, plus 6 uses of DRS if he could still stay behind Banky by under a second. So it's delicately poised here. It could go either way, and Jack, on the other hand, he's just watching brief. If in the case that these two knock each other out, he could take an easy win.
Yeah, you just mentioned Jack Keithley. There he is. That's the view he's got of the battle going on ahead of him. He's looking pretty cool, calm and calculating in P3, bottom right of the screen. Caelan Chin, the man in P2. Banky has held this lead, though, and has been pretty faultless.
Absolutely, Des. He has soaked up all the pressure, the kitchen sink that has been thrown by Caelan at this current juncture, but he still has 1 more lap to hold on here. It could be either one of these 3 guys taking the win here at Donington Park, Des.
They're all on medium tyres. Tyre degradation, will that possibly come into play on this last lap?
Not really, because ×2 tyre wear is still quite manageable, so if any one of these guys have enough tyre life in them, they might go for that attack. But it looks as though, I think, it's pretty evenly matched among these 3 drivers there.
Okay, Keithley in 3, Caelan Chin in 2. DRS implemented by Keithley. He's looking for an opportunity to make some progress. They lead Inigo Anton by 7 seconds. So these are definitely our 1, 2, 3, barring a crash. Banky is the man in the lead. Banky is the man in possession.
Yeah, Banky also holds, well, not just lead, but fastest lap is actually belonging to Keithley, so he doesn't have the full complement of 27 points in this race, but he will take a win and full ownership of the lead of the championship, Des.
Well, as he looks backwards, there is Ben Spanky. Caelan Chin, I think, is going to settle and have to settle for P2. He's not putting much pressure on him here as they come round the first of the 2 hairpins at the end. It's Ben Spanky who has the lead. Caelan Chin in P2, final hairpin round Goddard's onto the Wheatcroft straight, and this is going to be a victory for Ben Spanky ahead of Caelan Chin. Jack Keithley comes in P3. Inigo Anton will get his best result of the season ahead of Naqib Aslan, who got ahead of Mohamed Tasby for P4, 5 and 6. Perwin is in 7. In fact, Perwin may well just have lost out.
Oh no, he ran out of fuel. He actually ran out of fuel on the line. Would you believe it? A good point scoring finish position for Josh. Just went completely bagging. He ran out of fuel. Look, the car is actually crawling to a halt. Can he cross the start finish line? No, he can't. And unfortunately, RaceRoom does have that model where you can push the car out like Alain Prost in 1986 in the German Grand Prix. Disaster for the Australian. Heartbreak at the line.
But for Ben Spanky, another rock-solid performance. He led from the off, fastest in qualification, led from the very first corner, and really drove a faultless race.
Absolutely. It's a blueprint to what the other drivers could do for this season, Des. He soaked up all the pressure, he had all the right moves, placed the car correctly every single time, and he used his battery management quite well to prevent Kalen of having any chance of overtaking him, Des.
He is the two-time Slovak national champion. He now has an overall outright lead for the first time of this season at the halfway point of the E1 Championship 2022. And things are looking pretty bright for the Slovak.
Absolutely, Rosie. And we're waiting for the final confirmation right now because Josh's car is still there. Kalen would not be too disappointed. He will be happy to take a second place after what happened last time in Aragon, but it's just an absolutely brilliant race. The closest top three you've ever had in E1 Championship history. 0.8 of a second at the line.
As for Martin Stefanko, he'll be frustrated. He was down in P9. He might have edged P8 because of the trials and tribulations of poor old Josh Perwin. Poor old Josh, we featured him, but there he is in lonely, lonely isolation. Shouldn't laugh.
I'm not laughing. Okay, a bit of a giggle, but that's just really frustrating. He did everything right to battle against Nabil to keep the position. Losing it at the death is just absolutely painful, and my heart goes out to him on that one.
Well, the delay could well be because Josh is out on the circuit, so that's the delay for the final race control.
Yeah, we're still waiting for that, unless of course the race is still, in fact we have about a minute and a half left to go before the confirmation comes up anyway, so race time is still on. In fact, bang on cue, we have the race results, Des.
So the fastest lap goes to Mohammed Ibrahim. Well, how about that? He obviously came in and changed his tyres, and although he came P14, he picked up the fastest lap unseen by us. Race winner Ben Spanky ahead of Kalen Chin. Jack Keithley in 3. Anton, best result for Team Flash in 4. Nakib edging ahead of Mohammed Tasbi for P5. Nabil for Sem 9 coming ahead of the debutant Dafa Ardiansa for P7. Masvilton 9, Stefanko 10. Neg, the Romanian, for TX3 in 11. Ahead of Ben Seek. We didn't really talk about Apex E-Racing Brunei, but Ben Seek getting himself a top 12 place ahead of Zikri. Mohammed Ibrahim 14th, but fastest lap. And my hero, Russell Reyes, disappointing P15 for him on debut. Mazdi didn't finish in the points, neither did Jake 10, and Josh just didn't finish the race.
Thanks there to Des and Ammo, and of course Ben Spanky. It's been his day from qualifying to race 1, but I just have to say, Josh, what happened at the end? That was heartbreaking, and the way the shot lingered of his car stationary in the track at the end.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because he's been struggling, you know, because he's obviously to adapt to a new sim. He's actually trying another new sim for tonight, which, you know, qualifying didn't go well for him. I think he qualified P14, which was nowhere, but had a great job in that race. Got up to P7, and then, like you said, ran out of fuel. I think he ran out of fuel. Maybe we should try and talk to him, see if he's there. But yeah, it's yeah.
Have you ever seen anything like that? Have you ever seen a car literally on the line?
Yeah. But see, this is the benefit of being in the real world. In the real world, we'd jump out the car and push the car over the line, but obviously in the sim world, you don't have that possibility. But I would love to talk to the race winner. We didn't talk to him in qualifying. He had pole position. Ben Spianchi, great job in the race 1. That's your your second race win of the season. You want to talk us through it?
Sure. Thank you for having me here.
Yeah.
We were talking last time, like 1 week ago after race 2, and it seems that once you get a taste of victory, you can't get enough of it. So I'm here for more. Yeah, it was a very pleasant qualifying. I had good rhythm in quali, and yeah, it came on the last lap. So of course I was a bit nervous whether I can piece it together or not, but I think it's down to the routine really, whether you can pull it out of the bag when it matters. And luckily it was one of those days when I could. And then in the race, you know, maybe I wasn't the fastest. It can happen that I wasn't the fastest, but I also knew that I didn't have to go any faster. So I was kind of controlling the pace, taking some risk in places where I knew that I could take risk, and not taking much risk where I knew that maybe it wasn't worth it. So I was everything under control, I think.
Yeah, and it looked like Kalen Chin was quicker in the third sector of the lap, but I really thought he was going to make a move the last corner. Did you feel that was a threat?
Yeah, I think there was one lap when it was a legitimate threat. Otherwise, I think he was very close, he was very fast. I guess he was faster because he took more risk through the fast chicane than I did. But otherwise, I wasn't really worried. But kudos to him, like he had a great pace and a good race.
Okay, Bence, thank you so much for taking the time to speak to us. Good luck for the final race of the evening, okay?
Thanks.
How defensive do you think he had to be?
No, he was right. I think he had it under control. I really thought Kalen was going to lunge. That lap he was close enough to the last corner, but I think maybe Kalen just didn't want to take the risk, wanted to get that second position. But yeah, great job by Bianchi, and hey, he's our new championship leader.
And we spoke also about Josh and the heartbreak for him at the end. I think he's on the line as we speak. Josh, we are guessing you ran out of fuel. Are we correct in that assumption?
Yes, so I had a pretty good race, I would say. Like, I started near the back, I got past a few people, and I was holding up some high quality drivers there. But yeah, it was interesting because me and Kalen ran the same fuel, but yeah, my car died 100 meters before the finish.
Oh, that's a good question. Kalen wasn't really lunging for the win just now. Do you think because he knew he was also short on fuel?
No, he wasn't short on fuel, and from what we heard in the Zoom call, Bianchi was running less fuel than what me and Kalen were running. So yeah, maybe there's a bit more fuel strategy at play than we realized potentially. Maybe I'm driving a bit too aggressively, maybe we're not sure.
Okay,
all right. Josh, just one final thing. It was brought up in the commentary team. It was also brought up with Alex here. Are you still adapting? Are you taking longer to adapt than you expected now that you're based here in Malaysia?
I would say that might be a part of it because it's equipment that I'm not used to, but at the same time as well, getting used to the car as well. But when I've also been, I'd say, a bit more unlucky this season. Like, I disconnected from qualifying, so I only had one shot really to do a lap, and it wasn't that good. So part of it's my fault, and yeah, just getting used to the equipment as well, I would say.
Okay. Josh, thank you so much for taking the time to speak to us. Hope that you get a bit of lady luck in the final race today, okay?
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, it's luck. I mean, I have to also ask, before we go for a break, Keithley, is he in trouble or not?
I think definitely. I will say let's look at the replays, but I think Keithley's looked pretty bad, and I'd be shocked if he didn't get a penalty.
All right, that sets us up perfectly to go for one quick break. When we return, it's going to be race 2, and let's hope this is exciting as race 1 we've seen today. See you in a bit.
And we are underway. A nice first corner. And Inigo Anton
is going to win his first race.
We're running championships all throughout Asia Pacific. We need a premier championship with proper production, proper entry fees and prize money. And that's what E1 Championship is.
E1 Championship really levels the playing field.
We made a great start on e-racing.
It allows people in the real-life teams and the sim racing teams to compete on even footing, and they can be competitive against each other.
The level of racing was really high.
It's a terrific sporting competition.
We want to make the racing even harder and more realistic. In RaceRoom, the drivers and teams have learned how to have contact without breaking the car.
We had so many incidents on the track that we had a couple of races banned from competing for the last 2 rounds.
E1's going to get bigger and better all the time. As we become a global championship, we're going to get more European teams and drivers taking part as well.
He's peak 13 at the moment, 10-year-old who's getting tons of support on our Facebook pages. Let's go on board with Axel. Sorry, fella, went on board exactly the wrong time.
And he took out Nabil as well for good measure, so that is actually a rather weird way to have a crash. Oh, look at that. Going to the inside goes Reyes. Reyes shoves off White. Anton is also going through. I think it's Anton who has actually gotten through there into the gravel trap. And Reyes and Chin go through as well. So Reyes then really hard on the inside, but he manages to get through. Kalen, on the other hand, on a good recovery drive up to 4th place.
Aki Baslan is the man who has the lead, but he's got Ben Spanky as very close company. But although he got off to a dream start, he's not been able to pull away too far ahead.
Very tactical indeed, but it looks as though Nakib playing one tap should actually take his elbows out here. Banky on the inside, they're going side by side through the corkscrew, and Nakib somehow manages to hang around the outside to hold on to the lead just for the time being. Kalen has been there as well, actually. Kalen now has a drive-through penalty.
Oh, that hurts. Oh, that hurts.
Oh, that was disastrous for him. He was also in the pit lane at the same time with Banky, and that, look at that, the gap's only a second. He had it there. He could have actually taken the lead of the race if he even didn't have that drive-through penalty. Confirmation there from the stewards in the gate. The drive-through is going to be so painful for Kalen. He's going to tumble through the order after this, Des.
Bottom left of your screen is Kalen Chin. He knows the news. He knows the... How can you make such a mistake? Benz is not impressed with Kalen Chin just there.
Oh, in fact, it's even worse for Kalen. He's done an Austin Powers. He's actually stuck it right there in the pit lane. No, that is so disastrous for the young Aussie Singaporean. You can feel that frustration, and there you go. The picture says 1,000 words at this time, Des.
Oh, ouch. Oh, ouch. That was not much fun for Kalen Chin.
Welcome back once again to E1 Championship 2022. This is round 4, organised by Axel Sports, EGG and Astro, supported by MAM, that's the Motorsports Association of Malaysia, and RaceRoom. We are live, by the way, on Arena plus Suka, and we're broadcasting on YouTube and Facebook. If you want to find us, if you want to share the link, just look up E1 Championship on those platforms. We're also broadcasting in Singapore via Mio Sports 2, in Vietnam on VTV Cab, in Thailand on True Gaming Up, and finally in Indonesia via TVRI Sports. So warm welcome to those watching on those channels as well. If you've just tuned in, you've missed the qualifying and race 1. We're a few minutes away from race 2. So before that, let's just have a little race recap, the highlights package from race 1 with Des and Emma.
Ben Spanky was the man on pole position, left of your screen. He got off to a wonderfully smooth start. Kalen Chin under pressure immediately from Mohamed Ibrahim behind him. Banky would go on from there to actually win the race, start to finish. But behind him, a lot was going on, particularly Mohamed Ibrahim, who got himself up into P3 and then was just eased out of the way by Jack Keithley. And Ibrahim, his race was effectively over, although he came back to take a faster slap, Ammo.
Yeah, in fact, that the other sad part is the other driver who got really was collateral out of that was Russell Reyes. He also lost his front wing there as well. So Keithley then 2 for 1, if we can safely say, for that particular incident. But a three-way battle up in front was the real exciting one. We thought that Kalen will try to dive on the inside, but unfortunately, Banky just had the better of him all the way through.
Yeah, you did warn that this would be a difficult track to overtake on, and we saw Kalen Chin on a couple of occasions try to go up the hill and get around the outside, but Banky in his post-race comment said, I was always in control, I was just managing my fuel, managing my tyres, and then on the line, Josh Perwin runs out. So Banky took the win, Kalen Chin second, Josh Perwin trying to blow him over the line.
And it wasn't enough, as we can see there, race results for race 1. Banky then, 25 points, but not the fastest lap, because that went to Ibrahim outside of that top 10. Kalen ran him a close second. Keithley also ran him a close third. The top 3 were separated by just 0.8 of a second in front of a really improved Inigo Anton. He'll be delighted with that result to finish in 4th, in front of Nakib Azlan, who ran him close as well. And the rest of the field includes Tazbeh, Nabil, his teammate to Nakib, Dan Dafa, Jin Masvilton, and Stefanko. Absolutely disappointed to be losing more than 20 points to Ben Spanky after the first race.
Overall, Ben Spanky will pick up 30 points so far from this weekend. Kalen on 24 points. There's another race to go, a reverse grid race in which Stefanko will be on the pole position. Jack Keithley picking up 19 points. Inigo Anton, best result of the season for Team Flash, or for Anton anyway, since he moved to Team Flash. He and Tazbeh, they're accumulating a nice number of points, our Team Flash. But there's your overall final result so far today in round 4.
Many thanks, Des and Ammo. We're almost ready for race 2, but I have to say, I mean, we'll talk about Benson. being part of Mumbai Falcons, but what about his teammate? He's going to be furious.
Yeah, Ibrahim will be furious with that. I mean, we obviously have to check out the video, see if there are any protests coming through. But it suddenly looked like, you know, Keithley he made a mistake that should have happened before. Just try to recover again in the very next corner, which is not something every driver does at some point in his career. But wasn't a smart move. Came from too far back and tipped Ibrahim into a spin. And Ibrahim lost his front wing. And Ibrahim's already had one low-scoring round. So he can't afford another low-scoring round, and this is going to be a disaster for him, you know, because he looked like he'd be one of the drivers in the hunt for the win. He had the pace, I think. Was up to, I think, third at that point. So, yeah, let's see what happened with the protests later. But yeah, it doesn't look good for Keith.
As race director, I know you have to monitor a couple of things. I'm going to bring in Ammo into the conversation as we wait for the next race to start. Did you say at the end of race 1 this was the closest finish for the top 3 in E1 history? Was I correct in hearing that, Ammo?
Yeah, I think it might have been even closer when we had the first round in Sepang, because the top 5 or top 4 were close then. But this was the closest top 3 overall that we ever had. So it was just 1, 2, 3 across the line under a second. You blink and you miss it. It was such an exciting confrontation between the top 3 towards the end. But we might consider seeing the same thing in race 2 here when the reverse grid comes into play and those guys have to actually fight tooth and nail. And I'll refrain from using the center reference for this time, though.
What about some of the other battles? I mean, I could talk about at the top and so forth. Team Flash as well. There seemed to be a little something there, Ammo. Or is it me reading too much into things?
I think you can safely say that it is actually not a false dawn, Adam. This is definitely them on form, especially the fact that they did so well in the fixed setup race last time out in Aston until Tasbih had both his incidents and Inigo wasn't able to, or it wasn't Inigo actually, it was Jin not being able to capitalize on a good race, I would say, because his best finish was 4th in that one. So really then, this might just be the start of Flash having a bit of a revival towards the end of the season, Adam.
Okay, as we're not very far away from the race, a couple of things I want to pick up from just from race 1 itself. The DRS zones. What surprised you there? Because you did make a call there earlier on. Ammo.
Yes. It's just that, especially for the crane and curves, they use the DRS. But we did see a bit of a DRS train because they just couldn't overtake. This circuit is really difficult to overtake in a high-powered single-seater car. On a bike or slower cars like touring cars, the BTCC cars that race here, it's easy. You can go argy-bargy a bit. But in these cars, as we saw evidence there by how Keithley, with just a slight touch to Ibrahim, was enough to send him spinning. So to really make your move stick, you're going to have to be alongside somebody and just go Hail Mary and try to dive on the inside, Adam.
It's
Alex.
so funny because in my day, obviously, when you go the club racing and the other single-seaters, when I did Formula 3 and Formula 3000 there, this was a great track for overtaking. But how times have moved on with the modern Formula 1 car, it's so difficult. I mean, the much worse tracks in the UK for overtaking, there's Croft, Alton Park, you know, even Brands Hatch. This is one of the good ones. But in these cars, very, very hard to overtake. You know, it is more of a bike track these days, I guess. We don't use it for top single-seaters. But that's what makes it nice. Yeah. You know, you can come and do it in the virtual world.
Second time you said back in my day. Just what I just have to say to everyone watching. What about the fuel management? Because when we spoke to Josh, I was a bit surprised by what he responded there. Whoa, what's happening here?
That could be Josh.
Okay, sorry, Josh, fuel management.
Yeah, so, yeah, I don't know. Maybe he's using too much fuel. Certain driving styles do use more fuel, but also the way you can set it up to how you drive with how you want to use the battery management. You can be better with the right foot with that. Maybe Josh was just a bit too heavy with the right foot because Kalen didn't seem to have an issue.
Yeah, 15 minutes to 30 minutes as well now, Ammo. So does anything change in terms of strategy?
Of course, carry a bit more fuel so you don't end up like what happening to Josh, Adam. That will be the last thing that some of the championship contenders would like to happen to them. But also the fact that a bit of battery management as well. They do not want to run out when they want to go for the attack. And thirdly, they also just want to keep their noses clean because this track can also catch you out quite easily, especially through the likes of McLean's and Coppice, where if you run a bit wide, you're going to go into the barriers on the outside. And the old happen as well. We saw that happen in 93 with Nigel Mansell during the Top Car Shootout. So that 92 is different. That's not a Senna 93. It was Mansell who actually made a touring car appearance there, right this very corner, crashing into Starkey's Bridge. So the bridge is further behind than it used to be, but it'll be very interesting to see if a car crashes there, Adam.
Be honest with me. battery management, like, it keeps cropping up during the commentary, and you've just said it yourself. You are a racer, Amo. How would you be approaching it in terms of management?
Try not to maybe use too much power on the straight. Try to lift and coast a bit, because the battery as well is kind of regenerated through the brakes. So there's not a lot of braking zones here. As you can see through the S's there, you don't really brake in that corner. So there's not much braking zones to actually regenerate the battery and use it for extra power, Adam.
Interesting. Okay, we're keeping an eye out on that for sure. Anything else you think we should look out for in terms of race 2? Do you feel?
Watch Ibrahim going ultra aggressive. He's got to go gung-ho now, knowing the fact that having this round as his worst round, plus he had a terrible round in Sepang. He doesn't want to lose any more points to the championship leaders, that's for sure.
How aggressive is aggressive? Because he's not only is he aggressive, he's controversial at times. Des, you're laughing. I can hear you. What do you think about that?
He's fantastic to commentate on, because actually not so much this season. He's really been on his best behaviour, Mohamed Ibrahim, this season. But in the past, we've seen him go uber aggressive, really not make friends of other drivers. But he's been very restrained. Maybe Alex has given him a rap over the knuckles.
Yeah, behind closed doors, perhaps. I think we're now ready for race 2. Well, let's pass you straight back over to the safe hands of Des and Amo.
So race number 2, I believe we've got 18 racers in the circuit at the moment. Marcin Stefanko, he's the man I'm really keen to talk about, because championship leader, as you correctly said, he's 19 points adrift now of Ben Spanky. What went wrong with Stefanko? Because I didn't see him being taken out in that early situation.
I think he might have been actually ganged up by certain drivers, because we saw that in Aragon, especially the tight hairpin towards the final corner, where he just got shoved out a bit and literally lost momentum. So this might be the same thing that happened. He had a poor start, remember? He was up in that top 5 at the start, but then he just fell back. So in race 2, he will like to avoid that, Des.
Stefanko will be on pole position. We're at Donington Park. I'm alongside Amo Hazik in commentary. A 30-minute reverse grid race where we're expecting certainly one pit stop. We'll talk about pit stop strategies when we see the tyre choices of all of the racers. But Marcin Stefanko, he is a guy under a little bit of pressure at the moment, because Ben Spanky, the Slovak from Mumbai Falcons, has come in and taken all the glory so far today. Stefanko, if he has genuine potential of being champion, has got to respond.
And he responded well. Remember last time out, a couple of weeks ago in Assen, where he finished 10th that time, he won the race in that race too.
Okay, we are about to get underway. Red lights, top of the screen. When they go out, race number 2 will be underway. Donington Park, the venue. Stefanko, smooth start, but Masvilton is there behind them. 1, 2, 3, 4 cars in all kinds of problems, but Stefanko not off to the best of starts. Masdi Mardini on debut in the midst of a load of mayhem, but it's Jin Masvilton who has got ahead of Stefanko, and Tazbe, Nabil and Naki Baslan are all close behind Stefanko. Not the start he needed.
Nope, that was a horrible getaway, if I'm honest. I think he didn't even get enough power onto the road. The wind speed was too much. Masvilton got him, but he could get him back here at the end of the first lap if he could try and send one. We haven't seen any brave dive bombs this round, and look at that. He goes around the outside. That's not really going on, isn't it? He's gonna have to back it off.
Team Masvilton from Team Safehouse holds on to it. Now Masvilton himself is a very competent racer, and we saw how Ben Spanky was able to control the racers behind him. So Masvilton, as Stefanko tries to go around the outside on the hairpin, that's a difficult place to overtake. Will he try to cut on the inside here? The answer is no, but on the inside of him, you've got, who's that? Nabil Aslan trying to get through?
Yep, it's Nabil. So Nakib, in fact. Nakib has actually gone up to P3, so he has actually made a good start as well. So again, look, the top 3 have actually made a beeline for it, getting away from the rest of the field. So Nakib will try his best to keep up with the top 2 here.
We're staying on with Stefanko. I can tell you there's another story brewing with Josh Purwin. We'll get back to that in just a short while with Josh, because at one stage it was looking like he was near the top, and then he's much further down. But it's Jin Masvilton who has the lead from Stefanko, from Nakib, from Nabil. So then the 2 Malaysian boys, they this time have got themselves up into a decent position inside the first first couple of laps.
Look at that Stefanko around. Sorry, is that, yep, that's Stefanko around the outside there. Nearly makes it. Oh, there's someone going off. Someone has actually speared into the barriers. That might have been Nakib. It is Nakib. He's been harpooned into the outside gravel trap. And look, the battle's still on there. Nabil on the inside, and there, Nakib's out of the race.
Nakib is out of the race. That really was a horrendous one. Misvilton under pressure from Stefanko. Nabil in P3 behind them. Tasby and Jack Keithley have joined up very, very close. So 1, 2, 3 at contact. I was expecting more contact in this circuit, but everyone was very circumspect in race number 1. Not so much in race number 2.
Well, you're definitely getting a kick out of that, isn't it? But to report on that, Ben Singh, he was out because he just got whacked into the barriers by, I think, Russell Reyes. Russell, 2 races in a row, he was involved in collision. Ibrahim has not made any inroads. Nakib's out of it completely. He lost his rear left wheel in that, you might safely say, high-speed accident. We did not expect him to go up that fast.
And Mihai Neg is also a casualty as well. Let's just break away. I want to see what Josh Purwin is stranded on the line. This is really strange for Josh. I'm not quite sure what difficulties he's had there, but he's had a disastrous day. Not such a disastrous day for Jim Misvilton. It says P2 on the graphic. It is actually P1.
And Nabil has overtaken Stefanko there, so Stefanko has lost 1 more position when it looks certain that he could take this race by the scruff of the neck and try to replicate his race 2 at Assen, but he's got a fight on his hands here. He will try to actually get up to the back of both Misvilton and Nabil, who will be also looking for their first wins of the season.
Yeah, so Nabil was looking backwards at Stefanko there. Here he's looking forward at Jin Misvilton. Now these two have raced so many times, and you would think that Nabil has the know-how to get around Misvilton, but Misvilton's got a little bit of experience behind him as well.
Indeed, and both of them are actually equally hard chargers, but very respectable drivers, we can simply say, because they do give each other a lot of space. And Nabil might just have flashbacks from race 1. Remember, in Stefanko was the one that knocked him out of a race 2 win. So this is deja vu here. We had a bit of deja vu just now with Banky and Kalen, but nothing happened there. We might just see a bit of action between Stefanko and Nabil.
We're on board with Martin Stefanko. Don't be confused by the graphic top left. Josh Purwin is not in this race. He is stranded on the start-finish line. Again, we might just need to do a little bit of investigation as Stefanko goes on the inside of Nabil and makes it stick.
Oh, Nabil actually locked up there. It's the exact same thing that Keithley did in race 1, and it has happened here again. That Melbourne hairpin, the tightest corner on the entire circuit, besides Goddard's, has caught out yet another driver. So really then, the slow corners is not this car's stronghold. There's so much power that you have under your right foot. It's not easy to get it off the line.
Now, unseen behind, Ben Spanky has made a real charge, and he has got ahead of Tasby and Keithley and Anton, and he's got himself up into P4, and the Slovak is having a dream day.
A dream day, dream round, and he's going to consolidate his lead at the top of the championship, but we're only about 5 minutes in anyway, so a lot can still happen in the next 24.5 minutes, but for sure, Banky would have probably dreamt this in his sleep to have a good round.
Misvilton loses the lead. We have a new race leader, Martin Stefanko. Bravely done coming up the hill. Misvilton possibly just losing a little bit of concentration as Banky goes up on the inside of Nabil Aslan, and the Europeans go bash and go 1 and 3. It is Stefanko from Misvilton from Ben Spanky.
Well, this is absolute blitzkrieg here from Banky and indeed for Stefanko, who is chasing up to the back of Banky in terms of points right now because he's lost so much after that first race. He just wants to win it here and probably for good measure get fastest lap to reduce the damage.
There was Banky as Jack Keithley is the latest to put pressure on Nabil Aslam. I know earlier on in the season I was talking about how good it is to have the European racers like Keithley, like Banky, like Stefanko really put pressure on the Southeast Asian and South Asian drivers. And what we're seeing here is the Europeans have still got that edge.
Absolutely, and in the circuit that a lot of them, well, the European guys were familiar IRL, but for the drivers here, this is their first time racing on Donington Park proper in these high-powered cars. It looks as though the European guys just have that bit of an edge in terms of track experience to really come out trumps as Keithley there has a bit of a shimmy coming out of the S's, nearly losing it.
Let's have a look at P2, because Banky has made a move on the inside of Misvilton. Misvilton was able to hold on.
And hold on for dear life as well, because now he has actually kept it ahead of Banky, but Banky also has Nabil for company and Keithley further behind. So this is a DRS train being formed right now for second place.
Indeed it is. We're on board there with Martin Stefanko, trying to get the reverse, but Stefanko's been able to pull a 2.5 second lead over Misvilton. He is lapping at 1:08.9. He was a full 1.8 seconds faster than Jim Misvilton on that last lap.
Yeah, he's really left Misvilton out to dry here. He really has put the hammer down now and just racking up the lap times, trying to clear away here. So by the time the pit stops come around, he can actually just be a bit extra careful so that he doesn't get a drive-through like what happened to Kalen in the last round.
I can tell you that Jack Keithley has got ahead of Ben Spanky. So Ben Spanky has actually lost 2 places. He's gone back to P5, Banky. It says 6, ignore that, because we've got this poor fella, Josh Perwin, still on the start line. But Jack Keithley is in P4. Ben Spanky, I wonder what happened to Banky, because he'd been making a real charge and suddenly lost 2 spaces.
Yeah, I think he just got mugged there by the other drivers and lost a bit of momentum, so he's gonna have to regain that momentum here to challenge up at the front, as we got a few cars in the pit lane so they can clear the pit stops away. For Banky though, he can actually afford to take it a bit easy in the second race so that he could not actually have a crash as Martini gets a drive-through. So that was Martini in the pits. Get Keithley though. Keithley still attacking the back of Misvilton. Misvilton is doing an absolutely sterling defensive job in second.
We never spoke about tyre, and Martin Stefanko, Keithley and Banky all on medium compound tyres. Everybody else is on hard, or everyone else of the leaders is on hard. So Stefanko is trying to make his medium compounds really, really work, because he's established a near 5 second lead over Jim Misvilton in P2.
And that's a crucial thing for Misvilton. If he could actually keep up slightly with Stefanko up in front, he could actually just jump him by the time he jumps on a medium set of tyres. But having said that, Keithley has actually gone on the inside. He has outbraked himself, and he has another helping of DRS here to overtake. But no, Keithley is still in 3rd place. Second, Misvilton really is having the race of his life right now.
He is. He's holding on for grim death, is Jim Misvilton. He's in P2. Says 3, ignore it. It's P2 as Keithley really accelerates away. Misvilton responds superbly. They are wheel to wheel. They are side by side. Keithley just drives through. That's a wonderfully aggressive overtaking maneuver from Jack Keithley.
And he used DRS as well there. That was absolutely brave to hang it around the outside initially, to go on the inside. I thought he was going to lose control, but he manages to hold on there and take second place away as Misvilton drops a couple of positions even more behind Nabil and behind Benz.
For those of you who are following us, please give your comments to us on Facebook. We are live on Facebook and amongst all the channels where we are as well. So great to have you on board, and it's a cracking race so far. Let's have a look to see how some of our Filipino race are going. Inigo Anton, battle for P7 as he tries to go around Mohammed Tasbi. Team Flash, they've been close to each other. I'm sure they'd love to actually be racing, but they can't be too aggressive.
Actually, he's overtaking Dafa Diansa for P7 there, so he is now going to try to mow up to the back of his teammate, who's in a real good battle here between the rather confusingly orange cars of Nabe Aslan, Tasbi, and Anton will be in the mix as well. This is going to be a real fun battle before the pit stops come in.
Interesting. Tasbi has got himself, would you believe, ahead of Ben Spanky.
Oh, Banky really has not been happy with this race at all, actually. But probably because he is on...
He's on mediums.
Mediums, so the mediums are actually dying away at the moment because it's ×3. So he doesn't want to use too much of it before the stops. He tries to get up to the back of Tasbi. Around the outside compass, that is actually a brave move. Whether he can make it stick without DRS is another matter altogether. Who's got the better momentum? And amazingly, Banky, without DRS, manages to get up to 5th.
That's phenomenal from the Slovak. He is the championship leader, and he's proving that he wants to build on that championship lead. He'll be aware that Stefanko is there, but Banky has got to hold on. Where does he think about taking his first pit stop?
I think he will try to get it up to at least the halfway point, because that will actually assure him that he could use another set of mediums. So he has actually gotten through 2 drivers quite easily. So Nabil and Tasbih have both been disposed of. Now he can set his sights on trying to chase up to the back of Jack Keithley, about 2.2 seconds ahead. Oh, Keithley's off! Keithley has actually gone off!
Well, there is Jack Keithley racing, going down. He's down into P7 now. That was a big mistake. In fact, he's lost ground to Jin Masvilton, although gains it back very quickly as Masvilton goes off. So much going on.
Wow, and up in front, we don't have to focus on Stefanko at the moment because, we're going to focus on him anyway. He's going to come out to the first of the back markers, but really then, he has no idea what the heck has happened right behind him. It has absolutely been going at it hammer and tongs.
I need to tell you that Ben Spanky, he's made another charge. He was down in P5 at one stage, and now he's just shot back up. Those medium compound tyres, was it a gamble?
And it's a gamble that paid off, actually, because normally hard tyres are really a big gamble, but in this case, because the tyre wear is slightly higher compared to race 1, on a mediums is actually quite a gamble. So really then, he's made it work, and there's still, I think, enough tyre life in it for him to do 1 or 2 more laps before he does his pit stop. So really then, Benz is looking quite good here to consolidate second place.
Stefanko 1, Banki 2, Nabil Aslan is the best of the Southeast Asian racers. He's in P3 for the SEM9 team, the young Malaysian. 4 racers are out. Perwin is out. Mohammed Zikri is out. Nakib Aslan, he crashed out in spectacular fashion. Ben Seek is out. We've got 14 out on the circuit at the moment. And was that the first man coming into the pits?
Keithley, that was Keithley in the pits. So Keithley has actually gotten rid of his tyres that got dirty up from going off at the red gate corner. So really then, he has a lot to lose here right now.
And he's come out on hard compounds.
He's going to try to go long here. And because he is just above the halfway point, this is just for him to go all the way to the end of the race, Des.
Okay, so Jack Keithley, he's made the decision to come in early before the halfway mark. Currently, he is down in P10. He had a podium, which might still be taken away from him in race number 1. Currently, he's struggling down in P10. He's had a standout season so far, but this Donington Park circuit is proving a difficult afternoon for him.
Yeah, indeed, and it's a home circuit for him as well, so he would love to have been doing in front of his virtual home crowd, but that has not been the case as Stefanko now comes to the pits, gets rid of his old set of mediums.
Comes out on hards.
And there you go. So, oh, Stefanko's got a drive-through!
Oh, wow. Drive-through penalty, speeding in the pit lane. There was some talk about that amongst the racers before, about how difficult it is, and is there anything that race control could do, because they didn't think they were speeding through the pit lane. But I'm sure, I don't know many Czech swear words, but I suspect there's 1 or 2 there coming from the lips of Martin Stefanko.
Well, he looks a bit indifferent on that. I think he's just trying to keep calm throughout his entire phase, because he knows full well a win, an important, crucial win for the championship here in race 2, has gone completely begging unless he could really put on a stonking drive in the final 15. But because of that, he has given an open goal to Ben Spanky here.
So Ben Spanky is the man on the lead, and he comes in. He's made his medium compounds last beyond halfway. Be fascinated to see what he comes out on. We'll stick with Banky. He's lost the lead. The race leader is Nabil Aslam, Tasbih, Inigo, Anton, Daffer, Russell Reyes, all gone past. Banky on medium before this pit stop. It's a long pit stop. It's purgatory. Ooh. It is a long pit stop.
Yeah, and look, he's just sped through, and I hesitate to guess, if he got that wrong, he might get a drive-through for himself. Oh, I hope I didn't jinx it for him as he comes across the control line to turn off his pit lane penalty. No, pit lane speed limiter, no. He's actually clear, but Kalen's overtaking him. Round 2 between these 2 guys.
Medium compounds for Ben Spanky. As Kalen Chin is in P9. Our man out in the lead at the moment on the hard compounds is Nabil Aslam. Is this a strategy where they go to 22 minutes or something and then maybe blast it on soft, possibly?
Possibly, yeah. He could just actually extend these tyres life beyond the 22nd minute. So really then, if he could come in right now, maybe a bit too early, and he will have to go into mediums. In fact, he is coming in now.
Okay, so there goes my theory. Mohammed Tasbih, he is now the new race leader, Tasbih.
is jumping, changing up in front because of the pit stop. So we haven't had really an overtake for the lead, but really then this is an interesting race in prospect because Banky now has to serve his drive-through after, sorry, yes, Stefanko has served his drive-through, I think, yes, he has. So he's dropped behind Masvilton, but he's got all to do here, 14 seconds, and Banky though, he's actually just keeping ahead of Kaelin Chin. So right now, if things stay where they are, Tasby, Nabil and the rest of the guys in the top 5 who haven't pitted might have a chance of jumping the guys behind.
Nabil Aslan, he's on medium compounds as well. That's interesting. So Tasby is the race leader. How long will he stay out? Behind him, Inigo Anton. So Team Flash, both on with the same strategy as Anton comes up the hill, round the old hairpin onto Starkey's Bridge, and then...
Yeah, through the Melbourne hairpin
Oh,
here.
through the Melbourne hairpin, sorry, yeah.
9/10 in it between them, so in fact 1.5 seconds here because the timing screen just keeps updating consistently. But Tasby, ooh, that's a very wide line actually. I think he might just be struggling for grip somewhat with Anton closing in behind as the two drivers behind there, the two JMX Phantom cars go in together.
Yeah, Daffy Ardianza on debut. It's been a really, really strong performance by Daffa, who is known in sim circles in Southeast Asia and has lived up to his promise. But Tasby has stayed out. Team Flash, is it a hard, soft race? That could be Team Flash's gamble.
Yeah, the gamble might pay off here. The times 3 tire wear has not been that detrimental. We saw Banky then extending his tire life somewhat to a bit beyond the midpoint, so it is possible to actually run softs here, but that's a gamble that may not pay off if the tires fell off the cliff.
I can tell you, 18 seconds down in P3 is Ben Spanky. Now then, where is Stefanko? Stefanko, who had a drive-through penalty, is down in P8. Oh, that's a nightmare. I'm sure he'll be bringing up the drive-through penalty situation for the speeding in the pit lane.
Yeah, he is quite articulate. I did say before in his interviews, he remembers every single detail in the race. He's kind of like very robotic in that sense. He just remembers everything in that regard, as we have Tasby and Anton both into the pit lane.
Okay, how long did they last? Ooh, 19 minutes, 11 minutes on soft. Let's just stick with them. Tasby at the moment. As Banky, does he become the new race leader? Could be tight.
Yeah, we have to watch where Anton and Tasby come up because that's a long pit stop. They took on, I think, a bit of fuel because fuel and tires are not concurrent here. So out goes Tasby. Where is Banky? Banky takes the lead of the race, Des.
Ben Spanky, the new race leader. Everybody absolutely making sure they don't speed in the pit lane because they know it can be terminal. They came out on medium compounds. Both Tasby and Anton didn't risk soft compound.
Yep, they just went for mediums just to be on the safe side. So, yeah, soft may be a gamble too far in terms of trying to get the fastest lap. You might have the good grip like chewing gum. Really tastes nice initially, but once the flavor goes off, it's just really not malleable at all. You do not want to have those tires for long. You just want to get rid of them. So really then, medium is a good way to go. Hard mediums or mediums, like in the case of Banky, I guess.
So Nabil Aslan is now the man in P2. 1 second down on Ben Spanky. We have got under 10 minutes to go, but Nabil will be hoping he can get within DRS range. Battle for P5 and P6. It's a good little battle, this. Anton and Tasby and Russell Reyes. Well, Tasby's got himself up into P3. Daffy Ardianza is there for JMX Phantom. I've liked the work of both Team Flash and JMX Phantom. Anton, this is a Filipino battle between Russell Reyes, who's on the tail end of Inigo Anton, who had his best result of the season in race number 1. Anton, a P4.
And he will double it up with a P5 here if he can hold on in front of his fellow compatriot, but they will not be friends at the moment. They will want to one-up each other here in a fascinating battle between the two Filipinos.
Let's look at the forlorn figure of the Williams Esports team. Jack Keithley, he's had a difficult day at the office. P7 at the moment for him. Marcin Stefanko, even further down P8, and he had a lead of over 10 seconds at one stage.
Yeah, I think we can put the analogy from Keithley when he says it's kind of like a football match. You have good days, you have bad days. This is just inconceivable if we're honest. He had the win there. He had an open goal, but skied the shot completely out of the stadium, and now has been playing catch up ever since.
So they are the Williams Esports as they go past poor old Mihai Neg. We've hardly had a chance to mention the Mihai Neg performance today. The Romanian struggled a little bit all season, but our focus now will go on to Ben Spanky, and he has been able to pull away from Nabil Aslam. We were thinking that Nabil might be able to get in within DRS range. No, says Mr. Banky.
He just really knows how to control the race from the front, isn't it? He's just quite understated. It's not really that flashy or spectacular, but when he does lead, he just hammers into laps and just increases the gap right up in front, in this case in race 2, or just control it quite coolly from drivers who are in hot pursuit.
Okay, we're Mumbai Falcons. We're on board with Mohammed Ibrahim. Another quiet day at the office.
This is a real off day here, Des, and I hazard to guess here that with 2 bad races that he had, 1 drop ride and 1 proper bad race, he is having a mountain to climb here for the next 2 rounds, Des.
It also gives a little bit of hope in the team championship for Williams, because Mumbai Falcons and Banky are racing away. This is a potential win double here for Ben Spanky.
And we need to look at a battle between Reyes and Anton. It's actually quite close between them. In fact, the armada of orange cars is almost like as if it's the Netherlands here racing, but it's between Team Flash and JMX Phantom, and Tasby is ahead of Adianza, and Anton's in front of Reyes. So JMX Phantom guys are chasing after the Team Flash guys. This is going to be an interesting battle. It looks as though they have had the rub of the green in the last couple of rounds.
Reyes has been spectacular and improving throughout the season, in P6 at the moment ahead of Anton. Let's have a look at Daffy Ardianza. Let's have a look at how he's racing as well, because Daffy, it's our first look at him in E1 Championship, but he is well known in the sim racing circles, Amo, and he's had a very, very respectable debut in this championship.
Indeed, he's had a fruitful year, especially in the SRO GT Championship, where he finished 2nd, I think, overall, if I'm not mistaken. So he knows his way around GT cars and other forms of vehicles, but in a single seater that's high power like this, it looks as though that he's not too shabby either. In fact, he's on for his first ever podium if he can get past Tasby, but Tasby, we all know full well, can actually hold on to a position.
Yeah, this is Tasby, who had his first race win last week. He had a P3 as well. If he can add this, he will go even further out of his brother's shadow. Tasby in P3 at the moment. He's got to worry about Daffy Ardianza just for now.
Yeah, Dafa is not using the DRS going through the crane of curves that like some of the other drivers, but he is using here, coming up Starkey's Bridge and onto McLean's. He is getting closer, but look at that. It's still a single file battle here. There's no way through just yet. This track has proven to be either difficult to overtake, or he could try to set one on the inside. So Dafa is holding back for now.
So JMX and Team Flash going together, similar colours, which can make things a little bit confusing. We are on board with Dafa Ardianza for JMX Phantom, the Indonesian racers. And Mohammed Tasby is the man who is looking very cool, actually, but there's some back markers they've got to worry about.
And it's one of the Apex cars. They have negotiated it quite safely. That could be
Jake 10 it was, I think.
Yeah, it might have been Jake 10. Yeah, but it is Jake 10 because CQ is already out anyway, so that's quite unfortunate for him. His season has really not gotten off at all.
Back up to the front, Banky. Again, he's just keeping Nabil out of DRS range. Nabil gets to within about 0.9, and then suddenly Banky goes, boom, I'm getting out of here. I'm looking for maximum points.
Maximum points, and unfortunately he didn't get faster lap in that first race. Otherwise it will be a full complement of 59 here. That will be like throwing the gauntlet to the rest of the field and say, catch up to me now, guys.
He has got the fastest lap here. Right then, Russell Reyes has got himself ahead of Inigo Anton for P5. JMX Phantom ahead of Team Flash. So Reyes' impressive season continues, and now we can, for him, hopefully accelerate away.
Well, for his sake, yes, he would love to actually get away from his fellow Filipino, but Anton is a dogged driver. He has that determination, and I think if he could keep it close in the next couple of corners, in within that DRS range, these guys might be chopping and changing quite a lot.
Jack Keithley and Martin Stefanko are having their own little Williams battle behind them. Poor old Kalen Jim. Another interesting day for Caleb. Down in P9 at the moment, ahead of Jim Masfilton.
And he has DRS there, so he's using it coming up to turn 1. So Anton will like to repay the favor immediately to his fellow Filipino. Coming through the crane of curves. Is he using? Yes, he is. That is absolutely crazy. that is not easy to control the car at that high speed, but some drivers have made it work.
Well, Reyes looks back at Inigo Anton. Anton looks pretty cool, bottom right of your screen. Reyes looks a little bit more frenetic, but it's Reyes who has the P5 at the moment. We're focusing on this because this is where the real racing is going on. Up at the front, Banky, Nabil and Tasby are looking pretty good, although Dafa are the answer as we move away from this Filipino battle to one between Singapore and Indonesia. Daffy are the answer right onto the tail. Again, it's JMX Phantom versus Team Flash.
Well, let's see where Dafa's going to line one up, because that podium is so tantalizingly close. But we saw just down in race 1 how Kalen, despite throwing everything at Ben Spanky, just couldn't get by. And it looks as though this might be the exact same case here. He's trying his best to stay to the back of him, but it's just that there's no way through as of yet. He really has to forge one on the inside or even outside in certain corners.
2:23 to race, so probably this plus 2 laps.
It depends on where Banky is in relation to the rest of the circuit, the rest of the guys. So if he is right here, right now, he's coming from McLean's, coming out to Coppice. I would say 2 laps-ish at least, because he would still have enough time in his pocket to just go for a faster lap for all intents and purposes to really exert that championship lead even further.
He's extended that lead to over 1.5 seconds. Sometimes he's getting up to 1.8. He's looking very cool, the 23-year-old, as he comes round the Melbourne hairpin up to Goddard's. And it will be 2 laps still to go.
And a very tight line coming into Goddard's there for Banky. But yeah, he just really is in cruise control right now, 2 seconds ahead, as we need to go back to the battle between Tasby and Dafa Arianza. It looks as though Dafa has actually got a bit between his team to the DRS, but Tasby has enough battery power in his pack to still stay ahead of the Indonesian.
Tasby leading that little group. Team Flash. This is the battle for the podium. Hasn't been as much bish bash as I normally like, but that's because the drivers are very responsible these days. Alex Young doing too good a job.
Yeah, good job in giving a stern talking to some of the drivers. So he is basically doing what Charlie Whiting used to do, as Anton around the outside, and he's been shoved out by his fellow Filipino. So Russell there, I'm not sure where either way it happened, because we need to have an onboard camera on that, but I think Russell may have actually shoved out Inigo into the kitty litter.
And right behind them, Inigo Anton immediately under pressure from Jack Keithley. So Anton, who was looking for a P5 and 11 points, may suddenly find himself in single figures if he's not careful.
Yeah, in fact, that penalty points aside as well, he might also maybe just about be on the cusp of a qualifying ban. We'll have to actually check back with the stewards after this for the next round, but it looks as though Keithley now just wants to actually get the points on the board here on his teammate Stefanko, because they know full well right now they're going to be battling among themselves here, as Banky is lapping all the way to the bank up in front.
Certainly is right. Last lap. Ben Spanky already halfway around this lap as he comes up
through Plains up to Coppice.
Indeed. Yep. And this is down onto Starkey Straight, and this is almost a lap of honour for Ben Spanky. A lead of 1.5 seconds. I can tell you Anton is still under pressure, but Banky is looking for a near perfect round 4. Fastest in qualifying, winner in race 1, winner in race 2, and at the moment not fastest lap. Nabil Aslan has got that fastest lap, so it's not perfect, but it's as near as damn it for Ben Spanky. And Ben Spanky, as he comes around Goddard's and onto the home straight for the final time, Ben Spanky will take back-to-back victories. Nabil Aslam, a very good P2. Mohamed Tasby comes in ahead of Daffy Ardiansa for P3. Russell Reyes gets in ahead of Anton Keithley and Stefanko for 1 to 8. Kalen Chin coming in 9. But Ben Spanky is the story, Amo Hazik, and he is, well, way clear in terms of the overall championship.
He's got the treble, there's a pole position and a double, so that's the first double of this season, would you believe it? That's how competitive it has been, but Banky then has really taken everyone to the cleaners in this race, in this round actually, just dominating up in front and pacing himself well, while others were just falling by the wayside.
His teammate Mohamed Ibrahim didn't have quite as comfortable a time today, but Banky Bank on him at the moment.
Yep, bank on him at the moment to just seize control of the championship, but there's still 3 rounds to go after this. In fact, after race 1, we're at the halfway point right now, so anything can still happen in the next 3 rounds of the season, and it's a well-deserved break for a lot of the drivers, but Banky then will be absolutely chuffed with how it's gone for him.
And how about Nabil Aslan? He's come under the radar today as well, this M9 racer. He's picked himself up a P2. Mohamed Ibrahim again gets the fastest lap. Again, he did that on a medium compounds towards the end of the race and then ducked out. That's how I didn't see him. But Banky takes it from Nabil. Tasby, a 3rd pole in a row. Dafa Ardiansa, what a terrific debut. Reyes bashing out Inigo Anton for P5. Keithley, not a good day for Williams. Stefanko had the lead, and then that drive-through penalty cost him dear. Kalen Chain, a good day overall for him. Mohamed Ibrahim, a day to forget. Vilton, he had his moments. Neg down in 12. Mazdi Mardini on debut, getting the better of Jake 10. And Josh Perwin, well, another DNF for Josh. What a strange day for him.
Thanks there, Des and Ammo, and a few DNFs today. Bit surprising, but wow.
Yeah, I mean, some cars crashing off as well. But Bianchi, what a result.
What a day, not just that race, but race 1 and also
and
qualifying.
Of course qualifying. And the pace he just showed, let's not forget about that. He was very circumspect in the first few laps. You could see he kind of made his way up and then he fell back again. But that was completely the right strategy. Didn't panic. That was really good, and that's why he won. And then the other guys on the podium, Nabil in 2nd and Tasby in 3rd. In fact, you know, we got Tasby on the line right now, so let's just try and have a word with him. Tasby, another podium for you. You want to talk us through your race?
Yeah, you guys can hear me, right?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I think the race was. I think it could have been a double podium in race 1 and race 2, but the last 2 corners are so tricky to get the traction out, and made a couple of mistakes there, which costed some positions. But I think overall, as a team, with Inigo up there with me in the top 5 almost all the time for both rounds, it was a really good effort from our team overall. Because the others, one driver's up there, one driver's at the bottom, but as a team, we've got really good points for this round.
Can you just talk us through your strategy before the race started? Tyre management, pit stops, and so forth?
Yeah, there was a thinking to do medium, but we felt it was too risky, and so we just started on the hards and see how far we can stretch it out. And then we saw some of them pitting on 15-minute mark exactly. So, and my car had a bit of damage, so we just pushed it a bit longer so that we had fresher tires towards the end, and try and push or defend from others behind.
Could you have gone to the soft tires for the last bit?
I don't think so. The soft tires eats up like 20% per lap, so in like 2 or 3 laps you'd be sitting that top.
All right,
understood. All right, thank you very much there, Tasby. We'll speak to you again soon, okay?
Thank you, bye-bye.
There was a couple of really slow pit stops. I think Banky had a really long one at one stage.
That's why Bianchi was so quick at the early start, because I think he was light on fuel. So I think his pit stop was longer because he put some fuel in the pit stop. Because I know a lot of the guys ran heavy, so they don't have to put fuel, because it's not concurrent. Have a shorter pit stop that way.
Okay, we have the next driver who's also on the podium, Nabil Aslan. Can you hear us, sir?
Yep, you can. I can hear you.
Talk us through your race. P2 for you.
Yeah, a bit wiggly off the start, but I'm just made up just to stay calm and just run my own race, because I knew Stefanko, Banky and some other drivers were running mediums in the start, so I didn't want to fight them too much, so I just sometimes just let them by and just follow them, and yeah, it worked out perfectly, so not too bad.
You couldn't do the mediums, or you too wary of tire wear?
Too wary of tire wear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And did you put fuel in the pit stop?
Don't know. I think I did.
You think you did?
I think I did.
Okay, this might sound like a silly question. I just need to ask, after everything that's happened, are you very cautious of your speed when you're in the pits?
Not really. I still do the same thing as I've done since round 1.
Okay.
Yeah. I think other people, yeah.
Some of the other drivers struggling with speeding the pit lane.
Driver issue, maybe. Any
issues? Any words of advice?
they can find it out themselves. So
Not giving any secrets away. Nabil, congratulations on P2. We'll see you at the next race, all right?
Thank you.
I had to ask because they all seem to be a bit cautious now of speeding in the pits and then facing a penalty from that.
Yeah, I mean, the RaceRoom is very sensitive with the pit lane speed limit. If you go just a tiny bit over, you're going to get done. And Donington definitely, when I looked at it, was going to be one of those tracks you had that problem because the pit lane is downhill. So you're very careful. You come out the pit box. If you get too much wheel spin, it's very easy to go over the limit and get done for speeding. So, yeah, obviously caught out our championship leader.
Yeah.
Franco.
We need to speak to our new championship leader, Vince Banky. Are you there, sir? Can you hear us?
Yes, hello.
Firstly, congratulations on the victory. Now, Alex brought up an interesting point earlier on about your fuel management. If you want to ask, just to double check and clarify.
Well, I think let's just move on to race 2. We thought your pit stop was a bit long. Did you have to put on fuel on the pit stop?
Of course, but the main idea behind this strategy was that I felt, and I was convinced actually, that medium plus medium was possible, and that's why I had to kind of split the strategy, or like the fuel-wise, because starting with 140 liters or something wasn't an option really. I needed as light a car as possible for this strategy to work, and even in this case I had to do some tire management on corner exits. So it was tricky, but I think it was worth it, and the result is great. So I'm very happy, very pleased.
It couldn't be any better. You're our first double winner of the year. You know, was it all smooth sailing? Because the first few laps looked a bit frantic.
Yeah, it was quite chaotic, to be honest, because of course everyone was on a different strategy. Some people starting on hards, they were pretty slow. I also had to give a position back to some guy twice actually. The game mandated me to give a position back. Apparently I cut the track somewhere in the process, so maybe that's why. But then everything went really smoothly. I just had to watch out for the tires.
Okay, really quickly, how do you view today? Because individually it's been great for you from qualifying right up to race 2, but for the team, it wasn't all good news, considering how your teammate did. So how do you view today?
Could you repeat the first part of the question? Because,
well, it's more great. It's great for you today as an individual driver, but as a team, Williams may have caught up a little bit of ground on you guys. So how do you view today?
Yes, that's a shame, because I really think that Muhammad would have deserved a much better result. We were practicing very hard together all day, every day. So he would have deserved more. I think he had the pace. Actually, he had better poly pace than I did. So I'm really sad that it didn't go as planned for him. But we'll bounce back stronger and we will keep fighting.
Okay, thank you very much and congratulations today. Okay?
Well done.
Thank you.
Quickly, is he right? Was Mohamed Ibrahim just unlucky today?
I think Ibrahim, yeah, sometimes you have days like this, you know. I mean, Ibrahim got taken out in race 1, lap 1 by a driver, Keithley. And then it kind of snowballed from that because he's had to start the back for race 2, and I think got involved in that start line crash, and that was it. His race was done. Happens sometimes in motorsport. Ibrahim generally has not had the rub of the green this season. He's had the pace, but he hasn't won a race yet. He's had a pole position. But you know he'll come good. You know, this driver works really hard at what he does. He's super to watch, and for sure he'll win a race this season.
All right, we're going to go for our final break. When we return, we'll do the ballot for where the next race is going to be, and we'll recap all the standings and more for A1 Championship 2022. Stay with me.
And we are underway. A nice first corner. And Inigo Anton
is going to win his first race.
We're running championships all throughout Asia Pacific. We need a premier championship with proper production, proper entry fees and prize money. And that's what E1 Championship is.
E1 Championship really levels the playing field.
We made a great start on e-racing.
It allows people in the real-life teams and the sim racing teams to compete on even footing, and they can be competitive against each other.
The level of racing was really, really high.
It's a terrific sporting competition.
We want to make the racing even harder and more realistic. In RaceRoom, the drivers and teams have learned how to have contact without breaking the car.
We had so many incidents on the track that we had a couple of races banned from competing for the last 2 rounds.
E1's going to get bigger and better all the time. As we become a global championship, we're going to get more European teams and drivers taking part as well.
He's P13 at the moment, 10-year-old who's getting tons of support on our Facebook pages. Let's go on board with Axel. Sorry, fella, went on board exactly the wrong time.
And he took out Nabil as well for good measure, so that is actually a rather weird way to have a crash. Oh, look at that. Going to the inside goes Reyes. Reyes shoves off White. Anton is also going through. I think in fact it's Anton who has actually gotten through there into the gravel trap, and Reyes and Chin go through as well. So Reyes then really hard on the inside, but he manages to get through. Kalen on the other hand on a good recovery drive up to 4th place.
Aki Baslan is the man who has the lead, but he's got Ben Spanky as very, very close company. And although he got off to a dream start, he's not been able to pull away too far ahead.
Very tactical indeed, but it looks as though Naki playing one tap should actually take his elbows out here. Banky on the inside, they're going side by side through the corkscrew, and Naki somehow manages to hang around the outside to hold on to the lead just for the time being. Kalen has bitten as well, actually. Kalen now has a drive-through penalty.
Oh, that hurts. Oh, that hurts.
Oh, that was disastrous for him. He was also in the pit lane at the same time with Banky, and that, look at that, the gap's only a second. He had it there. He could have actually taken the lead in the race if he even didn't have that drive-through penalty. Confirmation there from the stewards in the game. The drive-through is going to be so painful for Kalen. He's going to tumble through the order after this, Des.
Bottom left of your screen is Kalen Chin. He knows the news. He knows the... How can you make such a mistake? Bence is not impressed with Kalen Chin just there.
Oh, in fact, it's even worse for Kalen. He's done an Austin Powers. He's actually stuck it right there in the pit lane. No, that is so disastrous for the young Aussie Singaporean. You can feel that frustration, and there you go. The picture says 1,000 words at this time, Des.
Oh, ouch. Oh, ouch. That was not much fun for Kalen Chin.
Welcome back for the final time today to E1 Championship 2022. This is round 4. My name's Adam Carruthers. I'm next to the race director, Alex Young. Now, everything has been organised by Outdoor Sports, EGG and Astro. It's supported by MAM, that's the Motorsports Association of Malaysia, and RaceRoom. And we are live on Arena plus Soka. And we're even broadcasting on YouTube and Facebook. It's pretty simple. All you have to do is look up E1 Championship, and it's easy to share the link with any of your friends via WhatsApp or whatever it might be. We're also broadcasting in Singapore via Mio Sports 2, in Vietnam on VTV Cab, Thailand on True Gaming Up, and in Indonesia via TVRI Sport. And we've had a lot of action today, qualifying race 1, and we've just wrapped up race 2, and it was eventful to say the least. To talk us through the highlights and more, Des and Amo.
Race 2 had Martin Stefanko on pole position, but he got off to a dreadful start as Jin Masvilton was able to ignore all the mayhem going on behind him at the very, very back. Masvilton would lead for the first couple of laps, but then Stefanko would prove that, you know, I was championship leader coming into this round, and I want to make a mark. There was all kinds of chaos. Naki Baslam smashed out.
Yeah, that will be very disappointing for the Malaysian, who was looking to have a good round here. As we can see there, his brother makes a mistake. Nabil gets wide with Stefanko coming through. And we thought at this point Stefanko may have taken the race by the scruff of the neck and try to recover lost ground in that first race. As you can see here, Keithley also makes it a Williams 1-2 at one point. It's amazing how the Williams team did not win this race.
You're quite right. Williams have been so good, so consistent, so reliable. But there is Keithley making a mistake. He goes into the cat litter and he drops down to P7. Meantime, Russell Reyes was having a cracking old battle with Inigo Anton. Battle of the Philippines there as Anton is surpassed by the JMX Phantom racer. Reyes once again impressing. By this time, though, there being a major problem for Martin Stefanko. He one-time leader. He got himself a drive-through penalty. We'll talk to race control about that. Anton and Reyes coming clashing once again. But by then, Banky had really taken this race by the scruff of the neck.
Comes around the final corner, becomes the first double winner of the season, and what a way to claim the championship lead.
Nabil Aslan picking up P2 behind him. Behind them, Mohammed Tasbi, third podium in a row. Dafa Ardiansa for JMX Phantom a debut P4 for him. Russell Reyes again impressing, picks up 11 points for P5, ahead of Inigo Anton in 6. But look at that, Keithley in for Williams Esports in 7, Stefanko in 8 in the team championship battle her, but individually, this has been a disastrous day for Martin Stefanko.
And what does that look in the Drivers' Championship as we go into the other screen now? We can almost have a drum roll. Oh, in fact, it's the overall result first. Then we go to the Drivers' Championship. Banky with an absolutely brilliant round to get 55 points on the board as opposed to 32, 33, 34 in the first 3 rounds. He is ahead of Kalen Chin by 22, so Kalen has bounced back from rather crazy Aragon round to be in second. Nabil third, he'll be very dead chuffed with that. Keithley fourth, with still some penalties coming his way later on, and fifth is Mohammad Tazmi.
Thank you very much for that, guys, and we should stress there might be some changes to that based on discussions post-race. Let's not get into that right now. We've done the Donington Park. Where are we going to be next? It's time for the ballot draw. So as I hold this, why don't you...
I'll do it then.
You'll do it.
Okay.
He's not even looking. He's being as impartial as he can. He's got his hand in it. Where are we going to be, sir?
Well, hey, Silverstone.
Silverstone.
Yeah.
Silverstone.
So we're going to Silverstone.
Is this personally one of your favorites?
Yes, especially for sim racing because it's great fun to drive and in real life, but you also have great races. This is one of those tracks, a bit like Spa, which has it has both a bit of everything, fast and slow corners, especially some really great fast corners, and you have some great racing here as well. So I'm looking forward to going to Silverstone for the next round.
And probably better for 4 wheels rather than 2, because 2 of our 4 tracks so far this season have been more bike-centric than car-centric.
That is true.
Anyway, let's go through some more standings, the overall standings after everything we've seen so far today combined together with previous races with Des and Ammo.
Yeah, Silverstone next week, but going into Silverstone, the overall championship standings are led by Mumbai Falcons. Ben Spanky, the 23-year-old Slovak, 154 points. Look at his points accumulation, 32, 33, 34, 55, getting better as the season goes on. Stefanko had a bit of a stinker today. In fact, back-to-back stinkers, 20 and 16 points respectively. Also problems for Jack Keithley. He's in third on 109 points. Mohamed Ibrahim only 13 points today. This might be his drop down on 94. Kalen Chin, that's encouraging. Look at that, 26, 21, 31 for a total of 87. Tasby again in double digits. Nabil and Nakib for Sem 9. Disappointing for Nakib to be bashed out so far today. Nabil in 7th place on 80 points.
And what does that do to the team's championship? On the other hand, we see that Williams Esports may have actually had a bad round, but it's not bad in the grand scheme of things. Still 24 points behind Mumbai Falcons, who have actually taken the initiative here after they were at a deadlock coming into round 4 with Nakib Aslan and Nabil Aslan there in Sam 9. In third place, a bit isolated at the moment, but they will hope that certain things will go their way in the next few rounds, with Team Flash in 4th having a very strong round this time around, and 5th, Black Ops Racing, who, well, apart from Josh having some of the dramatic moments on screen, Kalen Chin has been taking the points for that team.
Many thanks there, Des and Ammo. Now, throughout the month of September, we've been racing every single Wednesday. The teams themselves haven't had much time to prepare because it's 1 week between the races and we only know where we're racing exactly 1 week beforehand. However, we are going to be on a 1 week break, which means next race, which is at Silverstone, we're back in the UK, will be occurring on the 12th of October. So do join us then for that, and it gives the drivers a little bit more time to practice, particularly those who aren't familiar or as familiar with RaceRoom as some of the other drivers might be. We want to thank you, of course, for watching. I want to thank Alex, the race director, for being the man that's putting everything together, really. Des and Ammo on commentary, doing a stellar job as always. Highlights and more will be posted online. And hey, if you want to relive everything you've seen, it's going to be on YouTube and it's going to be on Facebook as well for you to enjoy. Might as well, right? Since it's 2 weeks till our next race. My name is Adam Carruthers. Thank you for watching. Till next time.
Bye-bye.